It's 97.3 The Fan. Well, we got another playoff game today. We are live from Baja Rick's in the gas lamp, and hopefully that sounds okay to you guys, because to me, it sounds super duper hot. But listen, I'm going to push through like the professional that I am. Kind of a last minute broadcast. We'll fill you in on all that, but we already have some tier ones in the house, so appreciate you guys being here this morning, and of course, appreciate my partners being here, my partners in crime. Paul Reindl is the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
You have like a day glow keyboard.
I do.
That's really cool. I've never seen that before.
I've brought it to every broadcast we've
I
ever
have
done.
literally never noticed it, but it looks, I mean, it's very, very cool. It's something out of Las Vegas, something a casino person would use, whatever that is. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning. Good to be back.
That's hot, too.
It's
very hot.
It was nice. I took the rest of the day yesterday after the show off, which I looked back at my calendar just now. I have not had a full day off, and I'm not complaining, but since September 21st, which is quite a while now. It's like 2.5 weeks. So I figured I'd be safe. I knew there was a workout at Petco Park, but, hey, it's the middle of the series. Every question that possibly can be asked has been asked. So
sure.
I figured if you're going to take a day off during the playoffs, an off day in the middle of the series is going to be safe.
That's an easy one.
You're not going to miss any giant stories. So why on earth do I looked last night, and the very lead story on ESPN.com is about the Padres and Dodgers and the day off workout day press conference that I missed yesterday.
Yeah, it's funny. I wanted to go down there too, but was unable yesterday. We don't have to talk about why I was unable, but I was let's just say I was unable. Did you? So you weren't on TV last night?
No, I took the day off because I had worked all weekend. I worked the previous weekend, and I thought, okay, this is like maybe my last chance until the end of October to take the rest of the day off. So let's, if everything goes well, I may be working every day for the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's definitely the playoffs when you're covering the team, and probably when you're a fan of the team as well, I would imagine, and we're both, is a little bit like drinking from a fire hose. It really is, because you're scrambling every day for tickets. You are making plans. You're trying to get time off work. You're trying to coordinate babysitters. Like today I've got 2 separate babysitters. I got one doing this, and then one's relieving one at 5 because one can't stay late. So it is like the plates are spinning like crazy. And for our boss, Adam, as well, who's back in the the Odyssey Empire studio. Adam, good morning to you.
Good morning, fellas. How are you?
We're doing great. You are spinning quite a few plates as well.
Just a couple.
Just a couple right now. Any plates crash and, break all over the ground yet? Or?
No, not yet. Let's see how the morning goes.
Sure?
You guys sound fantastic, so.
Are you sure? Okay. All right. So in Adam's mind, all these plates are still on the sticks, and he's spinning them perfectly, which is great. I'm trying at home as well to make sure everything's, everybody's happy and accounted for, and it's a lot. It's a lot, man. And then, it's funny. I had a conversation with Paulie yesterday. I called Paulie. He was on my way to pick up my son Taylor from school, and we were kind of going over the show from yesterday, and it was pretty intense. It was a really intense game. The night before, it was a really intense scene out at Dodger Stadium. I said to Paulie, you know what, man, I'm glad we did that State of the Union, where we told fans, listen, you're going to be out at Petco Park. It's going to be rowdy. It's going to be raucous. Let's be loud, but let's keep the volume, not the actual volume. Keep the actual volume up, but keep your temperature, keep your cool, right? And so I talked to Paulie. I said, I'm so glad we did that. And I said, and I want to make sure tomorrow when we take the air, there we go. I said, I want to make sure tomorrow when we take the air that we just continue to preach that same message of, hey, don't do anything dumb. If Dodger fans want to fight each other, let them fight each other. But don't get in fisticuffs. Don't throw your beers. Don't throw your micheladas. Don't throw, your margaritas. Just calm, right? Just like Jeff Passan told us yesterday. Act like Big Brother. So I said, I want to make sure, Paulie, we continue that message.
I think this is a chance for, Padres fans to own it over Dodgers fans forever. We saw the bad behavior at Dodger Stadium, and now you show them how real good baseball fans act. You're loud, you support your team, you make it hard on the other team while you're there, but you don't fight, you don't throw anything, and everybody is happy at the end of the next days, which hopefully results in the Padres taking care of business and winning the series and not having to go back up to Los Angeles for Game 5 on Friday.
Well, and again, with that message being massively important, to still keep that message, still keep the temperature down, keep the volume up. Then I saw what happened yesterday. And as I started to seethe and get angrier and angrier and angrier, you may have to. Did you bring your ball gag? Did you bring yours?
I didn't bring
because I
mine.
don't have
Yeah.
one. I know you have one. I don't have.
I have
one.
his GIMP mask, but
Well-
we left the gag.
The gag. You do have the mask though.
I do have the mask.
You may have to mask me up today because I'm pretty hot under the collar, as you can imagine, based on some things that happened yesterday. And again, going back to yesterday's Open, we talked about the Los Angeles Dodgers as an organization, as a group of players, and we talked about their skipper a lot. And I said yesterday, some of the problems with this team and organization, it starts at the very top.
Ben, you do a great job.
And he proved it yesterday. He showed his ass once again to all of the world.
Bro, it was like he was listening.
It was like he was listening.
He's like,
Yes.
oh, you thought that was something. Watch this.
Watch what I can do. I am incensed. I'm livid. I'm furious. He's ridiculous. They're ridiculous. If you're a Dodger fan, you should be embarrassed. We'll welcome you in with open arms. I would be mortified to be a fan of that team today. Mortified. Sick to my stomach and go, oh, my God. Oh, my God. Now, again, really talented team. Could go out and win 3 games, or win the next 2 games easily. Easily. They're a great, great team with great players. But, oh, my God, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine worse leadership at a time like this than what I saw from Dave Roberts yesterday.
Well, we will get into exactly what Dave had to say, why they submitted video to Major League Baseball to review Manny Machado's actions during Game 2, and I am assuming that nothing is going to come of that. There's been no announcements from Major League Baseball. I guess in some, alternate reality and universe, Major League Baseball could agree with Dave Roberts and suspend Manny Machado if they saw fit for Game 3 or the rest of the series, the rest of the playoffs. I don't anticipate that happening. I think the outcry would be beyond from the Padres fans. I haven't even really heard any Dodgers fans who agree with.
Oh, I've seen a couple.
Yeah, have you seen? I did not see a mess of Dodgers fans on social media agreeing with the interpretation of Dave Roberts on what happened during Game 2, in between innings, right before the start of the inning. Was that the 6th or 7th there, right after the Jackson Merrill RBI single, after Jack Flaherty had left the game, and a ball was, at the start of the inning, was tossed toward the Dodgers dugout, and the ball boy, whose job it is to collect the baseballs, that aren't being used in the field of play during the inning.
Yeah, I saw a majority of Dodger fans ripping him yesterday. They're just embarrassed again. But listen, when you are a fan of a team, it's provincial, right? I ride for my city, I ride for my guys, I ride for my skipper, whatever. It would be really hard to ride for that guy year after year. It just really, really, really would. And sure, man, every manager is going to make mistakes in the postseason. We talked with Eno Saris about it. We talked with a bunch of people about it. He's had a ton of chances. The more chances you get, the more mistakes you're able to make. If you only get 5 playoff games in your career, it's different than if you have 300. You're going to be able to. There's more opportunity to make mistakes. He certainly made his fair share. Certainly won a lot of playoff games as well, and has won a ton of regular season games. The winningest manager in baseball. So it does sound a little odd to say it'd be hard to ride for that guy. But when he pulls stuff like he did yesterday, and this is not the first time he's done crap like this. It's not. And we've been covering the team 6 years. We've had dozens of hours of conversations about some of the absolute BS that he pulls. And he's not some brilliant, psychiatrist, where he's like, watch this, watch how I motivate my team. If I'm on his team today, I'm embarrassed. I'm like, oh my God, dude, did you really send that video off? You really sent that video off? The biggest, it's such a joke what he did yesterday, and it's reeks of little brother mentality. It
Well,
reeks of it.
We will get into all of the specifics and discuss it and hear from Dave Roberts coming up. Why don't we just start doing that in our next segment? Of course, we are working our way toward Game 3 of the National League Division Series at 6:08 tonight at Petco Park. Michael King going to be on the mound against Walker Buehler as the series is tied at 1 game apiece. And we're going to be broadcasting live here from Baja Rick's Cantina in the Gas Lab all day long. We're right by the trolley stop in the Gas Lab next to the Omni and the Hard Rock. You can find us outdoors, listen for the sound. Just make your way on downtown and join us this morning. Annie and Elston are going to be here at 10 o'clock. Chris Ella is going to be out here for the Gwynn and Chris program starting at 2 o'clock. So anytime you're out here, lunch break, breakfast, we are here all day long. Looking forward to seeing Padres fans joining us on another playoff Tuesday. We were here last Tuesday, right?
We were.
Last Tuesday. That was a win. This Tuesday, let's see another win.
Since we've
it's
been
been
here?
a week since we've been here. We are back at Baja Rick's and looking forward to spending the next 4 hours with you. Coming up here on San Diego's home of the Padres in the postseason, it is October baseball on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Let's get a check of traffic right now with Kelly.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Live at Baja Rick's Cantina in the Gas Lamp. Jesse Agler will join us at 8:30 this morning, as he does each and every Tuesday, the voice of the Padres, and hopefully a few more Tuesdays still to go here in this October playoff run as the Padres head into Game 3 of the National League Division Series tonight at Petco Park, about a block to the east of us here from Baja Rick's. We're right by the Omni and the Hard Rock and the trolley stop in front of the convention center downtown. Please join
There's
us.
a trolley stop down here?
There, you've heard it once or twice. That's what the bell ringing is when the trolley goes by. So let me once again just review the timeline of events in Game 2 of the series on Sunday at Dodger Stadium. I was there watching it from deep left field in the auxiliary press rows that they had set up. So in the top of the 6th inning, Padres are up 3-1. Fernando Tatis Jr. leads off and is hit by a pitch by Jack Flaherty. We talked about it a lot on yesterday's show. Jack Flaherty says he wasn't doing it on purpose. Padres tend to disagree. There's certainly some gray area in between. Was he throwing at Tatis, or was he just throwing way inside and not caring if he hit Tatis? That's kind of where I landed on it, which is probably just as bad as throwing at a guy, in terms of a situation like that. Tatis comes around. Manny Machado has a chance to bring him home. He strikes out. Last batter for Jack Flaherty.
Oh, don't forget.
Flaherty screams at Manny.
Well, don't forget, Manny nodded.
Gave him a
vicious
respect.
Nod, vicious thug nod on his way back to the dugout. A vicious thug nod.
He was
okay?
tipping his
Don't
cap, right?
forget
Like
that.
he
No,
often does?
No, it was
All
a
right.
vicious, disgusting thug nod is what it was.
So then Jackson Merrill singles off Banda to bring in Fernando Tatis Jr. Padres take a 4-1 lead. Inning ends, and the Padres come out to take the field for the bottom of the 6th inning. In that warm-up, Yu Darvish is still on the mound, throws his last warm-up pitch to Kyle Higashioka, who throws it down to second base, as is the tradition, but the throw bounces. And when a ball bounces into the dirt in Major League Baseball, they remove it from play. So instead of throwing it around, usually they would throw it to Manny, who would then throw it to Yu Darvish to start the inning. But the umpire gave Yu Darvish a new baseball instead of the scuffed-up one that had just been thrown by Kyle Higashioka, forcing Manny to do something with the baseball that is now in his hands but is useless to Yu Darvish. So what's he supposed to do in that situation, Woods? Throws it to one of the bat boys who collect the balls. Ball boy, bat boy, who are stationed generally in the front part of the dugout, right? At most Major League parks, including Dodger Stadium, they're stationed there, so when a pitch, is fouled back into the screen, you see them run, grab the baseball, take it out of play. It happens multiple times through every game. So that's where you throw a baseball that is not going to be in play anymore. If you're from third base, you throw it toward the third base, front of the third base dugout, which is what Manny Machado did.
Yep.
Now, none of this was caught on the FS1 cameras or during the broadcast.
Didn't hear any crowd reaction to it. Dugout did not empty at all.
Everyone was a little surprised yesterday when Dave Roberts took the podium for his off-day news conference at Petco Park ahead of Game 3 and brought up what he felt was an incident. Here's what the manager of the Dodgers had to say about Manny Machado tossing the ball back toward the front of the dugout in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Dave, last night, did the ball that Machado threw into your dugout almost hit you, and did you feel like that should have been an ejection? Because Tripp Gibson went over there right away to try to intervene, but that seemed to be what sparked the jawing between Flaherty and Machado. Did it almost hit you? Did you know that it came in hot?
I didn't notice it at the time. I really didn't. I didn't notice it. I did see the video, and it was unsettling. Obviously, I have a relationship with Manny from years past. There was intent behind it.
Oh my God!
It didn't almost hit me because there was a net. and that was very bothersome.
Oh.
It's if it was intended at me, I'd be very. It's pretty disrespectful. So I don't know his intent. I don't want to speak for him, but
You just said it was
did see the
intentional.
video, and the ball was directed at me with something behind it. So, but I don't know
Come
what led
on.
to that. I didn't see it in real time, but I did see the video.
Did you
Ben-
feel after seeing the video he should have been ejected for that?
I don't think they should have had a little arm around each other conversation. If players can throw balls at opposing managers.
Oh my God, dude! I can't even believe this.
So
Ben,
the video, no one had seen this video, at least publicly,
Right.
when Dave brought it up. I saw our Annie Halbron posted
What a
the
get,
video
by the way.
yesterday from the Annie and Elston program here on 97.3 The Fan, and it was a shot from the first base side of the field that was aimed. Well, there was the overhead shot of small players, including Manny, tossing a baseball over in that direction, and then there was a shot.
It almost killed him.
And then there was a low-angle shot toward the first base dugout that sees the ball kind of bounce into the net by the front of the dugout and then roll away, and the ball boy goes and picks it up and takes it away. So this video is now widely circulated. That most baseball fans who are interested in this series have probably seen it on social media and have formed their own opinions on Manny's intent, whether there was something behind that throw, as Dave indicated, like it was too hard for the situation. It should have been perhaps lobbed a little bit softer than what Manny did.
Question. How many times did you each watch this video?
100.
At least 100, right?
Yeah.
I was slowing it down.
Me too. I did as a pruder.
Zooming in,
Yep.
and I go, what
What
am
are we
I
doing?
missing?
What am I missing?
What happened? What am I not seeing here? Because that looks like something that happens. I don't know. There's 9 innings in a game.
Yeah.
9 times in every baseball game.
You guys ever skip stones when you were a kid? Go out to the pond, take a little rock, and sling it across. You go boop, 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 boop. That ball bounced 4 times before it got there. Bro, this is embarrassing. The root word of intentional is intent. You cannot say there was intent behind it. No, you can't say this was intentional, but I don't know what his intent was, right? It's the root word of it. Dave has dug himself a huge, huge hole here. Huge. All right, redo the question. I'll be Dave Roberts, the right way.
Dave, there was people were talking about a ball that was thrown toward your dugout by Manny Machado in the 6th inning, and there was a talk with the umpires. What did you see there, and what are you thinking?
I didn't see anything. I was focused on the game. We're down in that situation. We got a ball game. That we're still in. We're trying to win. Guys are in the heat of the moment. Jack and Manny, I heard later, were jawing at each other. That just happens. That's competition. We need to figure out a way to win a ball game. We need to figure out a way to beat this team, and we're excited about our chances going into Petco Park. It's done. Be a leader. Don't be a victim. Be a leader. That's not leadership at all. If Manny Machado wanted to hurl a ball at you with intent, you would have known. You would have known. Also, your dugout would have gone bananas. If somebody came here today and threw a ball at Ben Higgins,
one player did jump out. Was it Teoscar Hernandez?
He raised an arm.
He raised an arm.
Jumped out and
That's
goes,
it.
"What's going on here?"
It's kind of a cell phone almost
It
on
is.
Dave Roberts' part. If that was a
If that
vicious
was a
attack,
vicious attack.
and only one out of 40 guys in the dugout, including staff and everybody, only one guy saw it and had your back.
Glass now shook his beautiful, luscious hair, and that's all you saw was like one little head shake from him, and Teoscar raised an arm, and that was it. And then Flaherty and Manny, who were already jawing at each other, continued to jaw. Be a leader, lower the volume, lower the temperature, and get your team focused. That's it. That's what you do.
Could there have been? Is there any room for interpretation that Manny was at least trying to startle them, throw it over there? Just the frustration wasn't. Obviously, if he wanted to hit someone in the Dodgers dugout, Manny has the accuracy and can throw a lot harder than what he did in that video.
He just threw it over to the net, dude. At the end of the day, okay, even if he did throw it, let's say 50 miles an hour, and skipped it in there 4 times. Even if it did piss them off, say something about it then. How can you be upset about something you didn't even notice 24 hours later? 24 hours later, you're like, what did he do? Oh, I saw a video.
Now, the umpire,
I'm not sure what
as
he
said,
did.
Tripp Gibson did go over, and we don't know exactly what was said by Tripp Gibson, the umpire. He did go over to Manny and had a brief conversation with him, like grab him, like, hey, let's probably, I'm imagining.
What is an umpire's job? Is to control.
Let's try to more diffuse the tension. You feel things ramping up here at Dodger Stadium. Let's not do anything that might raise the tension level. I can't imagine it went anywhere beyond that. There was probably no, threat of, hey, we can't, do that again, and I'm throwing you out of the game. I doubt it went to that level.
No, there was no warning.
We haven't heard any comments from the umpires or Major League Baseball on this to this point.
It just is insane, dude. And like Skip says here in the chat, he says, how do you watch that video and then come to that conclusion and then say, I'm telling
We're
right
going to take
now.
our secret video that nobody has.
Right. Nobody had
until
to that
Annie
point.
Annie Heilbrunn goes and just, however she got it. Good for her,
First
man.
person I thought of was Adam Klug, who has been after us for 6 years to get a viral video. 6 years. And we got nothing for him.
Like if you're at Major League Baseball and you get that, you open your inbox and that's sitting there in your email and you go, what are we doing here, guys?
You open it up and you go, God, I hate baseball players, man. I hate baseball
What
players.
is
And I hate
happening?
managers. Jesus, you guys are a bunch of. You guys are such. I can't. There's not a word I can say on the radio, but you know what I'm saying. So I thought it was absurd. I want to keep talking about it. I literally want to keep talking about it for 4 hours.
So as you'd expect, Manny Machado was then sought out to give his comment. He did mention it briefly after the game on Sunday. And didn't say much in terms of the incident.
Yeah, because I threw a ball back to the ball. I do it 100 times.
That's
again.
what he said on Sunday. Here's what he said yesterday after Dave Roberts' comments. Oh, this is the Sunday comments.
And Flaherty said that you threw a ball into their dugout, and that's what prompted him to start barking.
That I threw what? I throw balls all the
dugout.
time into the dugouts.
Into their dugouts?
I throw. Yeah, I mean both dugouts. I mean they have ball boys. You throw the ball back in there. So, I mean. When you try to hit our best hitter, right? Get him out. You can't get him out. Don't hit him.
Yeah, so that to me says, yeah, man, I was barking at him after he hit Tatis, and then at the end of the inning, I threw the ball into their dugout, which I've done 100 times. Dave made this molehill into a mountain. And now it's an even bigger mountain. And I want to talk about the repercussions of this next.
All right, and I want to tell you what Dave Roberts' actual problem is, because he's got a bigger problem than even this. We will continue to discuss. Well, you usually end something with a gate here. Ballgate on a Tuesday morning from Baja Rick's Cantina. We're live in the Gaslamp. Ben Woods and Paul, please come on down and join us. We're here all day long with 97.3 The Fan. Last week we were eating the giant golden sombrero seafood platter, which was absolutely amazing. But I just do want to. I was just looking at the breakfast and brunch menu here at Baja Rick's, and it's fantastic. Huevos rancheros, chilaquiles, breakfast burritos. Please, if you stop by, bring an appetite. Food here is tremendous, and we are live all day long with 97.3 The Fan. I know we've got some of the TV cameras in town are going to be coming out here.
Oh,
if you're the kind of person who likes to appear on local television, as I am, you can kind of join us down here and find your way into some of those shots. Maybe even someone will interview you as a Padres fan on the street.
Very excited to see our beloved Heather Lake from Fox 5 come down. They're going to be here about 7:30. So if you're on your way to work, stop by Baja Rick's. There's a parking garage right next door. It's $5. Literally $5 to park there.
It's free parking until 10 o'clock.
Yes, free parking until 10 on the street.
Even the meter, you don't even have to feed the meter until 10 o'clock.
Look at that.
I found a spot literally 100 feet away. It's
so you will not be staying after to shake hands and kiss babies, is what you're saying.
Well, I mean, you made me stay and hug last week.
I
just
did.
about everybody.
And who was pitching that night?
That was Michael King.
Who's pitching tonight?
That's Michael King.
Michael King
Okay.
again.
Well, you know what we need to do then.
We need to ramp it up. Instead of hugs, we'll do French kiss Ben, and I'll do $10.
$10 for a French kiss, $5 for a hug.
No. What about a little nipple, little nipple work?
It's fine.
No,
We're good. We're good.
All right.
All right. We are talking about the Dave Roberts comments and Manny's toss into the dugout in Game 2 of the NLDS, and Woods has got some thoughts. I think maybe the most important takeaway of this entire somewhat sordid discussion yesterday, and I think Woods has the most important take of all. We'll get to that right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. Well, guys, it continues to be a pretty uneventful ride on our roads, but no complaints. You start to see the usual slowing in the usual spots, some brake lights heading out of Chula Vista through National City on northbound 5, and a little slow traffic developing out of Santee on that westbound 52. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change centers. You don't have to get out of your car, and it usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So the only reason that I can figure that Dave Roberts would do this, because I don't think he actually feared for his own safety.
Right, because he never saw it.
Because he never saw it.
He never noticed it. Never.
And from what we've learned, ball players do tend to respect the heck out of Manny Machado. I would think that the reason that he has brought this up is that his own team does not have any organic cohesiveness or fire, and he sees that, and he is artificially trying to create something for his team to rally around, because they clearly didn't seem like they were rallying in Game 2, at all. They have not rallied the last couple of postseasons. They have gone out quickly and early in the playoffs after winning the most games in the regular season, and he sees it potentially happening again, and he's going, I've got to do something to try to get my team fired up and fighting for something that is beyond just winning games, because what we have been doing has not been working. That's the only thing that I can really see here making any sense as to why you would bring that up yesterday when your fan base hasn't. It's not like the Dodgers fan base was screaming, "What are you going to do about Manny Machado and that ball?" And so no one even knew about it.
Nobody noticed it. Nobody saw it.
So you don't have to bring it up at all. You could, if you really wanted to handle it privately, you could. But the reason you go public, you're trying to galvanize a team that is not galvanized. And while the Dodgers are incredibly talented, filled with many good players, Shohei Ohtani doesn't strike me as the ultimate teammate sort of guy. He's the ultimate talent sort of guy at the top of the lineup, but he's not necessarily, rallying around. Mookie also feels like a guy who is in the middle of a giant slump. He's in his own head. He talked about it a lot yesterday. Freddie Freeman is hurt and, not at 100%. They don't really have, from my at least outside viewpoint, that same cohesiveness we've seen with the Padres. Padres didn't have it last year either, but they have it right now, and the Dodgers do not. And Dave seems like, I am trying to create something here. Maybe grasping at straws, but I'm looking for something to create to galvanize my team for the next couple of days.
And so the inherent difference in that and what he actually did is this. You could have used that incident or non-incident privately to your team to say, look what this guy did. Look what he did. This is how much he disrespects you guys. I don't know if it's going to work at this point. You can go out, you can get tossed by the umpire, you can argue balls and strikes. We all know Dave's favorite place in the dugout is the top step. I've never seen a manager on the top step yelling and barking at umpires and players more than Dave Roberts. And I'm talking for years. How many times do they cut to him and he does the head to the turn face and he's barking and barking and barking? He did it in game 2, or he did it in game 1. What he's done now, though, is when you take that video that is nothing, that you did not notice, and you send it to Major League Baseball, what you did is you just put a target on Manny's back for the national media. What you did, you took an easy target in Manny Machado, a much maligned superstar that, by the way, everyone is really familiar with his incident with Josh Donaldson 11 years ago. Everyone is really familiar with that. Everyone's familiar with his incident with Yordan Ventura, 10 years ago. We all remember that. We all remember when he lightly dragged his foot across his buddy, Jesus Aguilar's foot. We remember the national fallout from all of that. What Dave did is he went, who's the easiest target on this team to make a villain out of? How about Manny Machado? Now, I had seen their relationship over the years. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, he played for Dave for a very short time. Dave would walk him intentionally, and you'd see Manny turn and look at Dave, and Dave's like, I'm not letting you hit. It actually looked like to be some friendly banter. But if I'm Manny Machado today, I'm furious. I am furious because I didn't do anything wrong. I wasn't coming at you intentionally. You didn't even notice. And now guess what? Within the first 45 seconds of the broadcast, guess what we're going to hear about? Guess what we're already seeing on social media from guys like Dallas Braden? Manny Machado villain, Manny Machado thug. Manny Machado has busted his tail to be better, to repair anything he's ever done. He plays hard. He's a great teammate. He's a leader. He's a leader in the community. Dave Roberts
He's the Roberto Clemente Award nominee for the San Diego Padres.
What a villain.
He's also one of the most, when it comes to being a ball player and appreciating his opponent.
Yes.
I don't know that I see anyone appreciate opponent more than Manny.
People get mad at him.
Who tips his cap more to the other team?
Who gives more guys a hug
Manny
at third base?
Yeah.
Everyone, our fan base gets mad at him because he's over there with Mookie hugging and the other guys on the team as well. People get mad at Manny for that. But other ball players, Trevor Plouffe came out a few weeks ago and said, dude, that guy's got massive respect from guys around the league. Who does the 21-year-old rookie sensation on our team rally around? He put on his Instagram yesterday, that's my MF about Manny Machado. right? So tell me about a villain. Tell me about a bad influence, man. That's such garbage that he would single out Manny for that, knowing he knows exactly what he's doing. And that is such a tired move in a series of tired moves by Dave Roberts. And I hope this blows up in his face, man. Now, the one thing I'll say, Padres have done a really good job in Manny's comments yesterday. Adam, do you have Manny's comments? Oh, no, we just have the quote. Does somebody have the quote, what Manny said yesterday about all of this? He was now asked about it again, and he had to go back and re-answer the question. And it was essentially, I talked about this yesterday, guys. I'm moving on. We got a game to win. That's the way you handle it. Dave sending that video to MLB it's unreal. It's absolutely unreal. So again, you kick the hornet's nest again, and now if I'm his player, I'm like, oh God, dude, what are we doing? We just want to play baseball. We need to get our S together, man. We don't
I need that bottom of the first Manny home run, and I want a 30-second trot around the bases.
Yeah, he would deserve every second of it, man. And you know what's funny is we haven't even mentioned this in 2 days. I can't tell you how little of a problem I had with Shohei Ohtani's home run and rips his bat to the Padres dugout. And you haven't heard one Padre say anything. You haven't heard one media member say anything. Why? Because it was badass. It's badass. It's showmanship. It's Jerks and Profar going into the stands, jumping up and down. That's showmanship. This is entertainment. This is a game. If that had happened, if we did that to Dave tonight, what are we going to get? FBI on the field? It's absurd, man. And you're taking focus. You're not focusing your team. You're not rallying your team. You've now made this whole beehive down here even more mad. So expect it loud tonight. Expect the volume to be very loud. And, you better hope your players rise to the challenge that you've now created for them. It's already hard enough to win in the postseason without crap like this.
When Dave Roberts says clearly that team over there, they like the villain type kind of role, and they feed off of that. To me, that's there really aren't any heroes or villains. The other team is always the villain.
Right.
Your team is always the hero. That's how it works in professional sports. Have there been some teams that have been maybe had 2 or 3 guys that are a little dicier than others and then, embrace that villain role? In the past it has happened. But the vast majority of ball players are just ball players. They're out there, they're competing, and they're trying to win. Teams are not heroes or villains. They are simply your team or the other team. And your team's the hero of the story. The other team is the villain of the story. But the national media, they're the one who try to create the narratives of the villain teams out there. And I agree with you, Woods. I think it's irresponsible.
It is.
Of Dave Roberts to make those comments, especially about Manny Machado, because that's something that will now be brought up next year and the year after that.
Forever.
Again.
Forever.
As a part of Manny's legacy as a ball player, completely unfairly and unjustly. And my guess would be that in a quiet moment after this series and postseason is over, Dave is actually going to look and feel kind of bad about that, and realize that was not the right thing to do, and he has brought some sort of a storm onto Manny Machado that Manny does not deserve and does not need to deal with.
I mean, guy's been around baseball for 100 years. He's managed 1 million games. He's won a World Series. He knows. He knows exactly what he did yesterday, and he knows it. He woke up. I thought about him last night. And we've all made wrong turns in our life. We've all made wrong decisions and went, oh, God, I got to live with the consequences now. To listen to his sheer lack of accountability again yesterday, if I'm a Dodger fan, I'm like, come on, bro. Like, just tell me we're going to win. Just tell me you're going to have the team ready to play. Just tell me we're going to handle little brother Padres. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear, well, Manny might have thrown a ball. I saw a video, and I don't know his intentions, but I think there was intent, and there was something behind it, but maybe there wasn't. It's just such poor leadership, man. It really, really is, and it's really disappointing. And if I'm Manny Machado, dude, remember a few years ago, we had just started covering the team, and Eric Burns went off on him on MLB Network, and Manny posted a video, and I think Manny had a couple of pops that night. He's like, Unbelievable, man. Aaron Burns.
Yeah.
Remember that? And he's
Wasn't
like,
it Plesac?
Yeah, it was Burns. Burns and Plesac, yeah. And he's like, well, this is ridiculous. And now that snowball, you spread misinformation like this, and you see it run and run and run and run and run, picks up steam, and the next thing you know, what's the over-under tonight? 2 minutes for Joe Davis? He already brought up Fernando's transgressions the other night. It's just insane. It's insane when you talk about how they're spinning this.
I was just going to bring this up. This goes so far back to 2020 and swinging on the 3-0 pitch.
Yes.
When, Fernando was made out to be a villain for doing essentially nothing again. This is a constant theme. And part of it is that, obviously, the Padres do rub other fan bases the wrong way with how enthusiastic and celebratory they can be. There's no doubt that Jurickson Profar is an irritating player if you're cheering for the other team. Fernando Tatis Jr. has no problem giving it back to the fans when he takes it. I don't think he starts it, but he's more than happy to play with them and give it back.
He's a showman.
And ultimately, Major League Baseball is not going to do anything about this because they're going to see that the ratings for this series are going to be off the hook. Even better now after all of this controversy. This only stirs up and adds to the attention and the spotlight and makes people want to watch baseball more. So ultimately, baseball is not going to do anything toward Dave Roberts or Manny Machado because they love it. They love it. It's theater. It's drama. It's storylines. It has people talking. And, they're just going to reap the rewards of more eyeballs tuned into the game tonight on FS1.
I loved a couple big leaguers coming out yesterday and saying, when's the first, players never chirp fans, and fans, we all know that fans never chirp players either, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with chirping and all that, but when it gets into this and you're sending video to the league office, you should be embarrassed, man. You really should.
Did watch both of the American League Division Series games yesterday, and both of them had their fair share of drama. We will talk about those and continue our look at the National League playoffs as well when we come back. Hour number 2 from Baja Rick's Cantina. It's Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. break, pulled a bite of Dave Roberts from yesterday that kind of goes in line with what I was talking about, Wood. So the Padres have that cohesiveness. They have the fire and drive that they have been looking for. And they've got it right now. Now they simply need to go out and, execute. You can't win a championship without, hitting the baseball and executing your pitches. But in terms of the team aspect, the cohesiveness of it, the Padres are there. They're at, in my opinion, world champion level when it comes to being a team that is ready to win a title. The Dodgers certainly have the players to win a championship. They don't have the cohesiveness and, togetherness that they're looking for. And Dave absolutely 100% pretty much acknowledged that yesterday as well. Here's what he said during his Petco Park news conference.
Obviously, like you guys talked about trying to match the Padres' intensity coming into this series. Like, does a game like last night, you think, fuel them any extra just with everything that went on? And does that kind of become the challenge again going into tomorrow is finding your own response to the level that they're at?
It's our own response. It's our own response. And I think that we're not trying to hit Tatis with the leadoff as a leadoff hitter in a 3-1 game. I mean, anyone that knows baseball knows that's the case. But you use that as fuel.
Dan Plesac doesn't know baseball,
for us,
apparently.
Individually and as a team, we need to find that fuel for ourselves. And so I'm not going to manufacture something
Aren't you?
that is not real.
You just did.
But again, it needs to be found. And I do believe that we had it in game one. And game two just got away from us. So I do expect our guys to come out with that fight that I saw in game one.
Is Baja Rick here? Because I need a paper bag because I'm going to hyperventilate. Do we have a Baja Rick's logoed paper bag that I can breathe into? I'm not going to manufacture something. But here's a video, MLB. I want you to suspend this man ASAP of him lightly throwing a ball over to our dugout, which he does 1,000 times a year. Are you joking, dude? Does he even know what he's saying anymore?
Sometimes when you say you don't have to manufacture something, that means you just manufactured something. That's kind of, this direction. Like, hey, don't look at the other hand. What my right hand is doing, my left hand in this case.
SD Jelly, I'm not going to manufacture something that's not real. Also, Manny tried to kill me with a baseball. I mean, holy crap, dude! What are we doing? Yeah, arms crossed, all defensive as usual. It's pretty absurd, man. It really is. And look, if you're envious of the togetherness of this team, you're the leader of that ship, man. It's your responsibility to get your guys ready to play. And just like it's Mike Schilt's responsibility tonight to make sure that the emotions stay within, right? Play within yourself, that old tired baseball adage that no one really means until they're actually doing it. Don't try to do too much. Schulte has done a really good job at keeping these guys focused this year. Manny did a great job getting them refocused after garbage and bottles were being thrown at them and people were jawing. So that, I think, is going to be a real challenge tonight. I don't think the Dodgers are going to come out any more fired up than they already were for Game 3 at Petco Park against a good pitcher in Michael King. And I don't think the Padres need to come out any more fired up than they were, in Game 2. Just continue to try to stay level-headed and play your baseball.
You can't overdo it. You can get too fired up. You 100%. Can get too emotional. You do not want to tip the scale too far in that direction.
I worry about Profar being too emotional. I worry about Jackson Merrill being 21 years old and being too. I don't worry about
man. He's got ice water in his veins.
He does. Absolutely.
I don't have a problem with Roberts trying to manufacture some energy. Maybe like you're totally fabricating with this whole story.
Right.
But I don't have a problem with you trying to rally up your guys or fire up your guys. It happens all the time. I mean, we talked about The Last Dance all the time. Michael Jordan literally made stories up in his head because that's what fired him up, and that's fine.
I do it all the time.
These are going to be high-intensity games. You already know that heading into a Padres and Dodgers game. But let it be known, if there are some fireworks, especially early in the game, it's going to be because of Dave Roberts and what he said and did yesterday.
Yeah, no question about it.
If somebody throws high and in, benches start clearing.
Yep.
This all could have been avoided by not blatantly lying.
I have a question. Ben, is there a way I could fire you up? Are you fire-upable?
It's hard. That's certainly true.
I'm trying to think if I was your skipper, how I would get
I'm the Kyle Higashioka. I'm the Higgy of this trio.
Literally
the Higgy of this trio.
I'm trying to
and
think.
I feel like someone needs to stay at that level baseline to make sure, to allow the rest of you to go ahead and revel in your emotions.
I wonder what I could do to get you fired up.
I'm trying to think of the most fired up he's ever been.
Sometimes when I see what I perceive as an injustice, as a fan on the field, and when I see what perceives to be an injustice,
like garbage being thrown on the field at players.
Well, yeah,
bottles,
that's
certainly
like that's certainly part of it. But when someone is wrongly accused or maligned, Manny Machado in particular, that does get me.
Good.
That's why I agreed with you that I feel the worst about this situation because of the repercussions for Manny, the unfair repercussions for Manny that he's going to have to deal with in like 3 years when they're in the playoffs and someone brings this up.
Yeah,
it's totally unfair to Manny, and I hate to see that.
Yeah, mission accomplished
for a
Dave.
player and a person like Manny Machado. So that does tend to get me fired up.
What about this? All golf courses are closed.
That would just get me mad.
That's just mad.
Yeah,
that's
just
not
mad.
even fired
That's
up.
just why.
I think
why are you doing that?
I think you would be more like, dang it.
I don't know. I haven't seen a golf course in like 3 weeks.
I'm trying to remember. This was probably like 4 years ago now, maybe even longer. Like the LA Times or somebody on a national level wrote about the Chargers in Los Angeles and how it was San Diego's fault. That whole angle to the story. Ben went off. Like, I saved it somewhere. Like Ben went ballistic.
It was great. It was great.
Yeah, don't make up your own facts to serve your own story.
What about run differential? That got you fired up last year. Me and you screaming at each other. It doesn't matter.
But it
does.
I wanted it to make sense last season, and it never made sense.
All right.
We are live at Baja Rick's. Food coming out of the kitchen. Paulie's breakfast burrito.
It is
I just had a
unreal.
quesadilla, but both fantastic. I see people eating here. Come join us. The menu is terrific. We're here all day long with 97.3 The Fan. And, by the way, long day. This is the latest start so far, I believe, in the postseason, 6:08 p.m. That means it's a 9 o'clock game on the East Coast, so people are going to have to stay up late if they want to watch this series on FS1. We'll have a Sam Levitt pregame show for you at 5:08 today, so stay tuned all day long right here to 97.3 The Fan. With all this drama, it was almost like the off day of Padres-Dodgers was more intense than even the actual games in the American League, which were really good games.
Phenomenal.
I watched both of them yesterday.
I did too.
Starting with an incredible pitcher's duel between the Tigers and the Guardians, Game 2 of the series at Progressive Field in Cleveland. Tarek Skubal felt like it's a must-win game anytime he takes them out. If the Tigers want to keep moving on, essentially he has to win every time out. And he was once again the Cy Young, presumptive Cy Young winner in the American League, the Triple Crown of pitching winner. Fantastic. 7 innings, 3 hits, 8 strikeouts, no walks. But the Tigers' offense couldn't get anything going against Matthew Boyd and a string of relievers that kept coming out of that really good Cleveland bullpen and matched the zeros all the way into the 8th inning. The Tigers then put 2 runners on, 2 outs. So Cleveland countered with their great closer, Emmanuel Clase.
Yeah, he's almost perfect, man.
Got out of the jam, got the final out in the 8th inning. But that meant he had to do something that closers don't often do. Go sit down, warm back up for the 9th. And when he came back out in the 9th, Clase was not quite Clase anymore. Got 2 runners on, and Kerry Carpenter came in and, did this.
Runner goes, pitch is swung on, a high fly ball to right field. This one is gonna fly! A 3-run home run! Kerry Carpenter! The Tigers up 3-0 as Carpenter, an emphatic, towering fly ball home run into the bleachers in right field. What a moment.
And that was all the runs of the game.
Incredible, man. Clase goes with 3 straight sliders, hangs the last one, and Carpenter puts a brilliant swing on it. That game was incredible. Watching Tarek Skubal pitch, we don't watch many Tigers games here. We missed him when he came here, thank God. But watching that dude pitch, is a revelation, Benny. He is 96 to 99. He works as fast as you could. He gets the ball, takes the mound, bam, and he didn't miss. He did not miss. He didn't miss location. He was phenomenal. I thought to myself, had they made him available, as it was rumored that they were going to, and the Dodgers had gotten Tarek Skubal, or the Padres had managed a way to get Tarek Skubal, God only knows what it would have cost. As I watched him yesterday, I thought to myself, worth it. Worth whatever they were asking for. He was ungodly.
There was some phenomenal defense in that game. Parker Meadows in center field. Stephen Kwan made
Great catch.
a 2-run saving catch that had to be reviewed. Still don't know if he actually caught it or not. It was that close, but they called it out on the field. They weren't able to overturn it on the replay there. It was a really terrific game. I still think Cleveland has the advantage in the series, even though they lost home field advantage and have to go to Detroit for the next 2 games. I still don't know that there's enough pitching left. Skubal could possibly come back in Game 5 if they can get it, though, to a Game 5, which, I mean, if you're the Tigers, you go, hey, we get one of these at home, and we can throw Tarek Skubal again in Game 5. We can win this series. We could go to the ALCS after being a team that was, 10 games under 500, trading away Jack Flaherty and other players at the deadline. There's a path now to the American League Championship Series for the Detroit Tigers, as there now is for the Kansas City Royals, who came through with a 4-run 4th inning against Carlos Rodon. Salvi Perez hit I want to say the first ever Major League home run that the ump cam was actually live on when he hit it. You see the replay of the ump cam home runs, but every time they usually go to the ump cam, nothing happens. Oh, it's taken outside. It's fouled off,
whatever. You can't tell where it was, location, nothing.
I was watching, and I said, that's a home run off the bat. Now, you can't really tell usually, but he turned on that, and I go, I think that's a home run. And it was. It sparked a 4-run inning. Tommy Pham had an RBI single. Their trade deadline pickup, and the Kansas City Royals got good work from Cole Reagans and the bullpen. Held down the Yankees in a 4-2 win that evens that series up at a game apiece and gives home field advantage to the Royals as they go back for games 3 and 4 in Kansas City.
Yeah, Aaron Judge, Ben, is a bit in the chamber as far as playoff baseball is concerned. 9 for 63, 3 homers, 24 Ks in his last 16 postseason games. I thought it was really interesting, too. Did you see the move that they did yesterday? Can you imagine this? So Aaron Boone makes out his lineup yesterday, and he wants to get John Birdie in it. And he's like, let's see, where can I put Birdie? How about first base? He's never played first base in his life. And in a playoff game, he's like,
what better chance to learn?
Hey, bro, grab your mitt. He was fine. The first chance he had was this weird spinner down the line that hopped over the bag. He made that play, caught a foul ball, and then, of course, handled the throws from the infield. But you want to talk about, you're already nervous as hell playing a playoff game, and they're like, hey, go play first base. He's like, I don't play first base. I'm not a first baseman. I just thought about the consternation it would cause us if, for all of a sudden tonight, Brandon Lockridge is your first baseman. You're like, what in the world is going on? But, yeah, man, that series is now tied, 1-1?
1-1. All 4 DS series are tied at 1. That has never happened before since they went to this format a few seasons ago. So we are guaranteed all 4 series will at least go to a Game 4. And you got to imagine with 4 chances, we're going to see at least a Game 5 or 2, if not 3 or 4 of them. So it should be a really exciting playoff round of baseball. The other NLDS series also continues today in New York as the Phillies and Mets shift to Game 3 in Citi Field. That matchup is going to be Aaron Nola against Sean Manaea at 2:08, also on FS1. So doubleheader of baseball with the Phillies and Mets going first, and then the Dodgers and Padres wrapping things up tonight here at Petco Park.
Can't wait, man. Are you going to the game tonight?
I will be there at the game. Well, I will be right there at the top of the Marriott in the early part, and then I'll go in at some point around 7. So I'll miss the first couple innings or watch them from the roof, and then I'll probably go in for a little while at the park.
I've been in contact with future Dodgers manager Skip Schumacher, which is it feels like a foregone conclusion, especially if the Pods win this game. But he will also be in the house tonight down at Petco Park. So looking forward to seeing my pal Skip. But I had some conversations with him about all of this yesterday, and I basically told him, if this doesn't go well, I mean, I feel like he's probably here interviewing with Friedman in the Omni right now.
It's crazy because the Dodgers are 2 wins from advancing in this series, just like the Padres are.
know.
It doesn't feel like it anymore.
No, and which means nothing, really. You know, your feelings are all great, but you still got to execute. You know, you got to figure out a way to hit Walker Buehler, he's a big game pitcher, man.
I totally. I mean, I want to talk about it going forward, but I had to stop myself from getting overconfident.
You have to.
In the last day or so.
You have to.
So we got to go to break. Our next segment is typically Don't Do This. Ken Rosenthal just put out a story in The Athletic. The sinister sling and the multitudes of Manny Machado.
Ooh, interesting.
We got a 5-minute commercial break. Woods, I'm going to need you to read this.
Quick,
it's going to get
speed
you all
reading.
fired up.
Woods is a speed reader, so that's good. And we didn't talk about it yesterday. Former Padres #1 draft pick hits the crime blotter again.
Oh, man.
Don't Do This is coming up after a check of traffic with Kelly. We're live from Baja Rick's Cantina in the Gas Lamp. Please come on down and join us. Drinks, food, and Padres baseball all day long on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Get back to our Manny Machado discussion and the new piece that just dropped from Ken Rosenthal. Quick teaser. You're not going to like it very much, Padres fans.
He's at it again.
Bummed about this story. Matt Bush, of course, former #1 overall draft pick of the San Diego Padres, way back in, 1999 was it? Was once again found himself on the wrong side of the law due to a DWI in Arlington, Texas, after attempting to flee from police. Details are still not totally clear on exactly what happened. The allegations are that Bush fled Texas police after a traffic stop, then fled the scene of a multi-car crash on foot before he was detained by bystanders. Bush and one of the drivers reportedly suffered minor injuries, but there's little known beyond that at this point. Bush really was one of the great turnaround comeback stories after essentially being out of baseball after his troubles with the Padres and legal issues as well.
He was in prison.
Came back from prison all the way to make it to the big leagues, right, with the Texas Rangers.
Yep.
And it's sad to see another incident here in Matt Bush's life that he's going to have to deal with and take responsibility for.
Yeah, man. Fleeing the scene drunk is not a good look for Matt Bush, Benny, and this is not a good look either. And Dave Roberts should wake up this morning very, very happy. He got exactly what he wanted. The national attention is once again on Manny Machado for throwing a ball over to the Dodgers dugout that Dave Roberts initially never saw, didn't notice, was not under any duress, and here we go. Ken Rosenthal has just dropped a piece in The Athletic talking about Manny being Manny again. Let me get some of the greatest.
Well, he starts by talking about what he said in the actual broadcast on Sunday night.
Yeah, he feels now like, I was cheated. Because
he gave Manny his props.
I praised you.
He said Manny Machado has taken a lot of criticism in his career for being too laid back, for occasionally playing dirty, for being the kind of player you don't want to build around. Well, what we saw in that dugout tonight, in that meeting, that was the most visible and powerful act of leadership in his career. He's 32 now, clearly a different guy. All of that is absolutely 100% correct, and yet Ken Rosenthal wants to almost retract that statement in this column that he wrote today, Woods.
He said, if I only knew then what we learned after the game and during Monday's workout at Petco Park, that Machado threw a ball towards the Dodgers dugout, that it struck the netting in front of Dodgers manager Dave Roberts, that the throw was forceful enough for the carom to carry out towards home plate. Two things can be true. Manny showed leadership in the dugout, draping his arm around catcher Kyle Higashioka and imploring his teammates to maintain their focus. But his punkish response to Dodgers right-hander Jack Flaherty hitting Fernando Tatis Jr. with a 91.7 mile-per-hour sinker, well, that was Manny being Manny again.
How about this one, man? Machado is, quote, this is quote, Machado is far from the Padres' only irritant. Fernando Tatis Jr. is a smiling, dancing peacock. Jurickson Profar is the kid who pulls the fire alarm at school and then asks, who, me? This is garbage, dude. It's just garbage. It's noise. It pisses me off. It bums me out. I don't want to give it a whole lot more oxygen because, again, man, you got to let your play speak the loudest on the field. But I do. I feel bad for these guys, man. Fernando Tatis Jr. did nothing wrong. Jurickson Profar did nothing wrong whatsoever. What did Jurickson Profar do? He had fun with fans. Fernando Tatis Jr. having fun with fans. Manny sticking up for a teammate is now a national story thanks to Dave Roberts and his BS. More BS from him.
Ken's argument is that because Manny, and we heard those comments earlier, when asked about throwing the ball to the dugout, then said, hey, they threw at our guy.
Sure.
And he said that's kind of a sign that Manny was at least sending a message over toward the Dodgers dugout.
If Manny wanted to send a message, a real message that put Dave Roberts in danger, you would have known it. You would have known it. This is as soft as
Ken also
soft can
says
be.
he clearly wasn't trying to hurt Dave Roberts, or he would have actually come a lot closer to hurting him. It wasn't particularly close, but felt like there shouldn't have been an ejection. But if they had started a benches clearing brawl, he might have been ejected as an instigator. He doesn't believe there's going to be any discipline issued by Major League Baseball after the video has come out, that it's not going to rise to the level of that.
Of course not.
But this piece clearly is going to make its rounds. And, Ken Rosenthal is an influential voice in the baseball media community, and he's going to shape what a lot of people outside of San Diego, at least, will think about Manny Machado going forward.
Basically just a hit piece on Manny. He goes on and he's like, this is a player who in 2014 triggered a benches clearing incident. That was 10 years ago.
10 years ago,
when he
dude.
ejected to a hard tag by Josh Donaldson. This is a player who in 2016 charged the mound and threw punches at Yordano Ventura. This is a player in 2017 who caused the injury that brought the end of Dustin Pedroia's career.
That's such garbage, dude. It's such garbage.
And also a player who the last 7 years, even after all of that, which was overblown, has been a model citizen, a leader in the San Diego community, a leader on the San Diego Padres, and none of that is written. But he coins the phrase sinister sling to give it a name, a scary-sounding name, like this is an actual incident.
Ken Rosenthal's entitled to write whatever he wants about repercussions, and that is his job, and he has earned that right, I suppose. But if any of my friends in the Padres PR staff are listening, pull him aside, please, later today, and just go, hey, Ken.
Thanks a lot, man.
Come here, little guy.
That's
WTF, man. That's irresponsible.
It was.
As a journalist.
It's terrible.
He, years ago, wrote of Manny, if he wants the noise to stop, he needs to give people less reason to question him. If he wants true appreciation for his greatness, he should create attention only with his performance. Well, one, that's what he's done. And two, I don't think he cares. I really don't think Manny Machado cares that much what is written about him, what is said about him. I think he cares what other ball players, respect him for what he does, and they do. They do. Almost universally. There's a couple outliers. You still, in the ball player community, you still think Manny is a thug or a bad guy, but I'd say the vast majority of players we've ever talked to, not just teammates, but opponents, respect Manny. A lot of them idolize Manny Machado. They want to be Manny Machado. More than any other ball player, I think. They really do want to be Manny Machado. They might want the hitting ability of Shohei Ohtani or Aaron Judge, but in terms of the overall just smooth ball playing skills, Manny is number one for a lot of players in the sport of who they really would like to emulate.
So if you're Shilty tonight, you don't let Ken in the dugout, yeah? You pass on the in-game interview.
I don't know that you get a choice in the matter.
What are they going to do?
Find me. I'm not letting that guy near my dugout tonight.
I certainly wouldn't want to see him there, but
if Kevin Acee wrote a hit piece about you, Ben, I would not talk to him. Would
yeah,
you do the same?
I don't know that. I don't know what the repercussions are if players get fined if they don't speak. It's part of the the television contract with Fox and Major League Baseball that they get a reporter embedded in the dugout, and players and managers have to do those in-game interviews. If they don't, they certainly will get fined and reprimanded by Major League Baseball. You can wear that, I assume, if you're Mike Schilt and want to do that. That there will be consequences if they try to keep him
Then
out of the dugout.
I need Schilt to go full Marshawn Lynch. Hi, it's the bottom of the third inning. I'm here with manager Mike Schilt. Mike, your thoughts on the first 3 innings of today's game? I'm here, so I won't get fined.
100%, man. It's embarrassing.
It's another interesting layer for Game 3 of the NLDS tonight. And that is Don't Do This for a Tuesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Do have some breaking sports news. The New York Jets have reportedly fired head coach Robert Saleh after a 2-3 start, which is a reminder, by the way. Never believe anything that professional athletes or coaches have to say. We had 5 straight weeks of everyone assuring us that Saleh was good, Aaron Rodgers was good with Saleh, they loved it, everyone was going, no, this doesn't look right, it doesn't look like they're on the same page, and everyone's going, no, we're good, honky-dory.
Honky-dory.
Now he's fired after a 2-3 start.
Did you say honky?
Honky-dory.
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 It's honky-dory.
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 What in the world? How many beers did you have?
0.
All right.
No, actually, I did have one last night.
Oh, you did?
I
Okay.
did.
All right.
I think I'm probably recovered at this point. All right, we'll come back. Michael King's going to have to step up again tonight, no doubt about it. I certainly don't expect anything less from the Padres starting pitcher in Game 3. We'll get to that and the matchup against Walker Buehler next, live from Baja Ricks. Yeah, we got some people here. Let's come on down. Enjoy the show, enjoy some breakfast, and be with us today on a playoff Tuesday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Adam, I am the wrong headset on. Can you hear me now? We're live at Baja Rick's. Yeah,
Firing on all cylinders today.
Well, Woodsy's doing some television, doing a live TV interview right now here at Baja Rick's Cantina, just about 2 feet to my right. So I'm trying to not interrupt my friendly competition on television here that's got their cameras, and he's actually talking with Heather Lake right now on Fox 5. So that's why I'm a little flustered at the moment, but Woodsy will be done. You know, TV hits are fairly short, so probably in 90 seconds or so, he will be back. While he does that, I will remind everybody you can join us all day as we broadcast live at Baja Rick's for Game 3 of the Padres-Dodgers NLDS Series, brought to you by Santo Super Premium Tequila, additive-free tequila from Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Sammy Hagar and world-renowned chef Guy Fieri. Santo, work hard and play loud. We're going to get into the matchup, Paulie, between Walker Buehler and Michael King. Michael King and Walker Buehler spoke yesterday at the workout day at Petco Park. Obviously, Michael King was phenomenal in the wild card series last week against the Atlanta Braves. Padres will be looking for more of the same, and we'll get to all of that after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by the brand new Front Wave Arena in Oceanside. Well, guys, we got a number of problems. Let me start with the North County, eastbound side of the 78 on or near the Civic Center Drive on-ramp. There is a collision. Also traveling on southbound 15 just past Rancho Bernardo Road. Accident involving a couple cars. That's over to the right shoulder. Coastline ride, southbound 5, just before Delmar Heights Road. We are getting reports of a collision blocking the right lane. And further down, South 5, right before the split, we have reports of a collision involving a couple vehicles. It's partially blocking that right lane. Now, heading out of the South Bay, challenge for you northbound side of the 805, just past Bonita. Crash over to the right shoulder, a couple vehicles involved. And an accident on westbound 54 past Woodman, 2 vehicles in the center divide. San Diego, don't miss the LA Clippers taking on the Brooklyn Nets at the all-new Front Wave Arena in Oceanside. Yeah, this is tonight, guys. Watch hometown heroes Kawhi Leonard and Norman Powell hit the court October 8th for a one-night-only preseason showdown. Get your tickets now at frontwavearena.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So 1 week ago, when we were sitting here at Baja Rick's, we had no idea how Michael King was going to respond to his first playoff start. Kind of a surprise, was named the Game 1 starter for the Wild Card Series against the Braves, and he went out and was, of course, phenomenal in that game. What did he get? 12 strikeouts in that game? Was absolutely
dominant.
Fantastic, which completely kind of changes our perspective going into this game, Game 3 of the NLDS tonight. Our expectations for Michael King have shot through the roof. But keep in mind, he's not facing the Atlanta Braves, a team that was decimated by injuries, has a good lineup, but nothing like what he will be facing with the LA Dodgers tonight. So yesterday, Michael King was asked about coming off of that great first start and heading into his now second playoff start with the Padres.
Hey, Michael, what does the response that you guys had as a team last night kind of say about the makeup of this club?
Yeah, big credit to Manny. Manny had us all come together. I also think that the performance is still what matters more than the team just coming together and saying we're going to stick together. And seeing that those last couple innings, how we responded was a huge positive. I also think it starts with Darvish. Darvish had however long of a break while he's standing out there on the mound in his 7th inning, and he goes out there and puts up a 0. And at that point, I think it was still 4-1. So it's a big situation for us to calm down the noise. And he put up the 0, kept the momentum on our side, and we went out there and put up however many runs.
You kind of touched on it. You're obviously coming off a high-intensity start, maybe even more juice going into this one. What do you do with that, knowing that it's going to be maybe even more of an edge on the other side and the environment and all that?
Yeah, I think I know I joked in my first one that my pitch count would have to be up a little bit. I think with the opposing team coming in, it'll be a little bit louder. I know that these fans show out, and they're definitely going to make it an uncomfortable environment for the Dodgers.
So, I feel like with the extra intensity here, we saw how he responded to that adrenaline of the playoff start last week. Have no worries that Michael King's going to be too amped for this game. I was a little bit worried about Dylan Cease, and He didn't say that he was too amped for the game, but he was throwing harder than usual. The control was a little bit off in game one.
Yeah.
Didn't see that with Michael King in his start. So hopefully the same thing will happen tonight. Is no matter how intense, no matter how loud the crowd gets, what the game is like, Michael King has shown that that's a circumstance in which he thrives under, and I would expect the same today. Of course, he does have to face Shohei Ohtani to start the game. Hopefully, 3 or even 4 times over the course of the game. Here's what Michael King had to say about the matchup with the Dodgers star.
Michael, Darvish did a nice job against Ohtani last night, held him hitless, and he goes 0 for 4. How do you view that matchup at the top of the lineup in particular, and really within the context of their lineup 1 through 9?
Yeah, all credit to Darvish. That obviously he's what makes them go. If you can control him, and I also think if you can keep runners off base when he's on, when he's at the plate, is a huge thing. So he did a phenomenal job. He's Shohei Ohtani, so he has the ability to get you even if you execute pitches. And it's really just limiting the damage when he's up there. So I'll definitely be asking Darvish what he was seeing and what his approach was.
So we had the stat yesterday. I mean, the biggest difference between game 1 and 2, Padres did a better job of not having runners on when the top of the lineup came up, and then they controlled the top of the lineup 0 for 10 with 4 strikeouts in game 2. Dodgers don't get production out of those top guys, Woods, and welcome back. That's going to be very difficult for them to win that game. So Michael King knows the objective today. He knows what he's facing against these Dodgers.
Yeah, man, and you saw some comments from Mookie Betts yesterday, who is in the torture chamber in October, and he did the 300, 400 swings thing again, which he did last week, trying to battle his way out of it. Again, he remains, to me, such a key to this series. If you can keep him at bay, Shohei can hurt you with a solo shot. He can hurt you with stolen bases. He's a really great player. But, man, you got to don't let Mookie get hot. Also, we don't know the status of Freddie Freeman right now, if he's even going to be able to play. I'm sure he'll try to give it a go. Toradol is a miracle drug, and that's what they used on the last game, but it ran out. It runs out after a while. And so you got to keep Lux and Rojas and Will Smith from doing a ton of damage to you as well.
The Mookie thing is weird to me. The numbers, yes, are bad. He's 0 for his last 22 in the playoffs and 2 for 31 in his last 3 postseasons since joining the Dodgers. Clearly, he has struggled in the playoffs. But most of those at-bats were at least a year ago, if not 2 years ago. In this postseason, he's gone hitless in 2 games. He did have a home run robbed.
Yeah.
If I'm a normal baseball player, I'm going, that's not a slump. I hit the ball hard a couple of times, ran into some bad luck. I'm not making 400 swings.
No, nor am I.
To get out of some sort of quote-unquote slump. I've had 2 hitless games in which I definitely hit one ball that was hard enough to get out of the yard because it was over the fence when it was caught. But yet, the way Mookie talks, he sounds like he's lost. Like he feels like he's completely out of sorts and needs to do something to change it up. I'm not sure if that's the right strategy for Mookie. I think the Padres clearly have the advantage. They are the biggest favorites in all the game 3s. Yeah, minus 150 from the Las Vegas odds makers. All the other teams are minus 110 or minus 115. Very close matchups at the most. So Vegas likes the Padres in this game. And part of it is who's on the other side of the pitching matchup against Michael King. And that is Walker Buehler, who undoubtedly has been one of the best pitchers in baseball the last few years. But coming off his Tommy John and returning has not been the same. What was he, 1-6 with an ERA over 5, an ERA plus of 72, 100 is league average. So well below a league average pitcher in his limited starts this season. He did hold the Padres to 1 run in 5 innings in that last matchup of the season. But
and looked good doing it.
He did, but it was also pointed out that, and this was from Too Much Morton's, Giannis always has good stuff on Twitter. Yes, he held the Padres to 1 run over 5 innings in his final regular season start, but he only got 3 whiffs, 3 swings and misses, and 1 strikeout, and it was caught looking on Tatis on a ball that was off the plate. So essentially 0 earned strikeouts, 3 swings and misses. Padres just hit the ball at people in that game, and that doesn't always hold. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it's weak contact. I'm not saying he didn't get the job done. He absolutely did, but he wasn't overwhelming. He wasn't Michael King. He wasn't Tarek Skubal. he's not the pitcher that he was before. He's not going to go out there and just completely shut you down. He needs balls not to fall in. He's going to get balls put in play against him. And the Padres, generally, that's been a very good formula for them this season. That's why they're favored in this game tonight.
Well, and nobody does it better than the San Diego Padres as far as not striking out, putting the ball in play. This is the team, the type of offense. You know, when it's clicking right, nobody beats this team. Nobody. And you saw it last game, 6 home runs. And, yeah, man, you don't have to hit the ball out of the ballpark to beat Walker Buehler. You don't. You don't need to get lucky to beat Walker Buehler. You just need to do what you've done all season long. He is a big game pitcher. He relishes in that. He, in fact, yesterday said it's the only thing he cares about is being labeled a big game pitcher. So you get to him early tonight. Now, listen, you will see Dave Roberts tonight be as aggressive as you have ever seen Dave Roberts. He's got a very, very rested bullpen as far as the big guns, you know, the Blake Trinans of the world.
But doesn't that work in our favor, you think?
Because we just saw him? Well, we just saw Trinan for like 40 pitches the other night.
The fact that he's going to manage the way that you expect him to manage tonight.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunities for him to overthink the situation.
No doubt. No.
As we've seen him do time and time again.
No question about it. I thought he managed a really great game in Game 1. And, you know, listen, with Michael King on the bump tonight, you feel pretty confident. You just can't – that you know, them getting first licks tonight, Shohei Ohtani will be coming to the plate. You will know about it. There will be a graphic letting you know when he comes to the plate. You may get an alert on your cell phone today about when Shohei Ohtani is striding to the plate tonight for the first time. And when that happens, that's going to be a really fun battle between Michael King and Shohei Ohtani to get this game going.
Obviously, number one goal, only goal, win the game. It's the playoffs. That's the most important thing. But this is part of a series of games. And the biggest goal is to win 3 of the 5. And you can, best case scenario, with your, Michael King on the mound against Walker Buehler, you can hopefully win today's game and take a good step toward winning tomorrow's game.
Sure.
Because the Dodgers, without having named a starter yet, presumably Landon Knack, they're going to want to use their bullpen heavily tomorrow, as will the Padres with either – Martin Perez. Mike Schultz still hasn't said whether he's going to go, Dylan Cease on short rest.
Could
I
be an
doubt it,
opener.
but that's possible.
Yep.
Could be an opener. And then Martin Perez for length. But whatever it is, Padres will be relying on the bullpen tomorrow, which means the more you get from Michael King today, after you got 7 from Yu Darvish in Game 2, if you can get something like that today, you haven't used Robert Suarez in this series, the more you're set up with your bullpen rested, the more the Dodgers have to use some of their better arms to keep them in the game. Ideally hold on to a deficit that the Padres have a lead. They're just trying to hang on. You can go take a step toward winning tomorrow's game as well with a good performance tonight by the San Diego Padres, because there is context here. Now, Mike Schultz manages pretty much every game like it's Game 7. He manages in the regular season. He sees a win, he goes after it.
Yeah.
You're up 4, here comes the closer. I certainly don't expect anything less tonight. He's not saving anyone for tomorrow when there's a chance to win the game today and take a 2-1 series lead. But there is another game tomorrow. Win or lose, there is another game tomorrow.
There's a couple interesting lanes that we can talk about as well tonight. And obviously you don't know what the game's going to dictate, but think about if you get down to the if it's a fairly close game and you get down to the 7th inning, Ben, and they got the bottom of their order up, we have not seen Robert Suarez in this series yet. Think about him going down, 7, 8, 9, and then you get Tanner Scott in for the 8th. And you're going to have to figure out the 9th if it's still a close game. But think about lanes all night. Jason Adam looked spectacular. You feel like Jason Adam can get Shohei out. But Tanner Scott can get Shohei out. I think that strategy is going to be fascinating to watch.
But the more Shohei sees him, obviously, the better it is for Shohei. He hasn't had any success against him yet.
Yeah.
But you're going to go to that well at some point.
Well, you don't even need him for one time.
Right.
You just need to get him one time if it's in a big spot. And if it's not in a big spot, you don't need him.
I mean, do you keep going with Scott against Ohtani until proven otherwise? Is that how you go? Or do you give Shohei a different look?
What is he, one for 11?
Seen Suarez here. Would you be more confident in giving him a chance?
No. Come on, bro.
I'm just asking the question.
Come on.
I tend to think they're going to keep riding Tanner Scott,
especially against Shohei.
There's a reason not to, but
yeah, there's.
But if Clase can get beat with a 3-run home run, anyone can get beat. Whether it's Suarez, Adam, Scott, anyone.
Yeah, no question.
Or Trinan or Kopech.
Correct.
They're all. The Padres have seen those guys in this series now. They saw them recently at the end of the regular season. These teams are very familiar. One wild card, and I'll just throw it out because he was out on the field yesterday, is Sean Reynolds.
Yeah.
who was throwing a simulated inning, like 20 pitches, full outs, and could be activated. Now, you can only join this series if someone else gets hurt and is placed on the injured list. Haven't heard anything yet, but it is a possibility. It was brought up. It might have been Kevin Acee I was reading yesterday, or Dennis Lin, I'm not sure, but the Dodgers have never seen him.
Yeah.
And that would be a wrinkle that you could throw in there. A guy who had a sub-1 ERA during the season, a really good strikeout-to-walk ratio, strikeouts per innings pitched ratio that the Dodgers do not have any familiarity with. Boy, that would be what a spot to put him into if they did decide to go that direction. But he was out there. He's with the team. And if they wanted to call him up, they could manipulate that in a way where you could see that in games 4 or 5.
Always fun, man. Always fun to see how these power arms are deployed. And, listen, Padres did a good job at hitting off the Dodgers' second-tier bullpen pieces last time. You got to keep that going tonight, but you really got to get to the starter, Walker Buehler, first.
And you really have to get to Baja Rick's Cantina here in the Gas Lab. We're here for another 2 hours. Jesse Agler is going to join us in our 8 o'clock hour as we talk to the voice of the Padres and much more. Don't go away. Ben and Woods continuing on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
please stop by on your way to work, or if you're not working, stop by, hang out. The entire station is going to be out here broadcasting live all day. This place on a baseball playoff day, man. This place, Baja Ricks, but this place, San Diego, this particular area is it's my favorite place to be from, to live, to be a part of. It is unreal. I told my wife, I want to get down here early. Like, I want to get down here as early as possible. Drink it all in. The playoff atmosphere in San Diego is electric.
It's funny, having spent a couple of days at Dodger Stadium, and you go up there into a Chavez Ravine, and you look, and there are a couple of nice views of the mountains there. And
I've been there.
I stopped, and I appreciated them for like 10 seconds, and then I go, and then there's nothing around here.
Yeah.
This giant parking lot, and then you walk out. You can't go anywhere. I mean, there's nowhere to walk to. There's no entertainment.
A lot of people say it's like a prison.
There's no post-game. There's nothing. Like Petco Park, where we are here, you're steps away from the gas lamp, the East Village, and everything that it has to offer. I love Baja Ricks. This is fantastic. The food is terrific. What a great pregame spot. You hop right off the trolley, take the trolley into town, MTS, get off in front of the convention center. You walk right into Baja Ricks, and then you're about a block and a half away from the entrance on Petco Park on the team store side over here. It's absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
Well, I've decided today to do something I have never, ever done before. I've got probably 6 Padres jerseys, the team jerseys that we get at Fantasy Camp. Now, they all have my name on it, which we've had the debate. Do you buy a jersey with your own name on it? Do you buy a jersey with another man's name on it? I've never bought a jersey before because I haven't really been a big jersey guy. Today, as soon as we're out of here, I'm walking down to the team store, and I'm buying a jersey with our captain, number 13, on it, and I'm wearing it tonight because what has happened.
City Connect?
No, I'm going to go brown. I think the brown. I like this. I wear the City Connect a lot.
Looks good on your kids. Real
yeah,
good.
They love the City Connects, but I'm going to rep the brown jersey.
Now, you assume that there's anything available in there. Padres fans are hitting that store with quite some intensity over the last few days.
Do we know what time it's
Hopefully
open?
they have anything left. 9 o'clock?
Is it 9?
Store,
I'm
open
looking
at 9.
right now.
Padres check. Paulie's checking
10?
the hours.
All right.
10 a.m.
10
Right at the end of the show.
Perfect. Right at the end of the show, I'm going to go down and drop some coin on a jersey for my guy because it's important to let him know how much we appreciate him. Again, Dave Roberts got what he wanted. Jonathan Papelbon's tweeting about, what a vicious thug Manny is. I'm super surprised Jonathan Papelbon doesn't like Manny Machado. I am truly, truly blown away by that. But yeah, I've never done that before. I've never bought a jersey before. But today will be my day. I'll join my son Bo. He reps his Machado jersey all the time, and Taylor is more of a Tatis guy right now, but he's still learning the right ways. But very excited for playoff baseball tonight. Can't wait to be down here with everyone.
I love the fact that the Padres made the change back in 2019 to the brown and gold. There was a lot of pushback.
I didn't like it at first. Now I can't imagine.
Can you imagine if everyone was showing up in blue tonight
for
this game? It
tough.
just wouldn't feel right if everyone was showing up in blue.
It's a better color scheme for me personally, but it's not about me. It's
We get
about
that.
the team.
I'm wearing brown today. Paulie's wearing brown. Woods is in brown. San Diego will be in brown. We will be distinctive. When that game goes on national
Still see
television,
some of the old blue and white over there.
Yeah, I mean, there's throwback jerseys, obviously.
It's weird that those are the throwbacks.
Yeah.
You can consider those throwbacks. We just had a comment in the chat. Sam wants to know, is there any possibility Manny could be suspended 1 or 2 games? None. 0. If Manny,
no, I don't think it's 0. I
There's
think it's very,
no way.
very low, but
we march.
Video has been submitted. The Dodgers submitted that video in the hopes of getting disciplinary action taken against Manny Machado. I think those hopes are huge long shot, like a huge long shot. I'm talking like 100-1 at Santa Anita.
There's no
long
chance.
shot of getting.
I see what you did there.
Of getting Manny in any trouble whatsoever. There's just no. There's no way to prove what Manny was thinking or doing. He didn't hurt anyone.
No, he didn't hit anyone with the ball, and the guy that submitted it never even saw it.
If he had beamed someone in the head, sure, maybe we're having a different conversation. Ball bounced a couple times, hit a railing in front of the dugout, and bounced away.
I cannot believe this is such Encinitas Little League dad energy. I can't even tell you. This is embarrassing. You should be embarrassed Dodger fans for multiple reasons, this one being number one.
Danny in our YouTube chat, he says, visited a Dodgers podcast last night. They are mad and they are nervous.
They're mad at what?
Just mad in general. Nervous. I mean,
They got to be mad.
All the pressure is on them.
They got to be mad at Dave Roberts. You have to. If you're Andrew Friedman, you're the ownership of the Dodgers. Aren't you like, what? This is where you're going with all of this? That's what you're gonna complain about and send that to Major League Baseball. And now,
I mean, think about it. You talked about it earlier in our last hour, the bat flip from Shohei in Game 1,
I
how
could
he
not care less.
Threw it towards the Padres dugout. Nobody even thought twice about it. If Mike Schilt the next day was like, "Hey man, that was disrespectful,"
he tried to kill me, man.
And
he threw that back.
My life was on the line. I didn't see it.
Could have cut my head off.
Like we would have all come on and been like, "Oh, Mike, what are you doing?
On, Mike.
Come on." What are you doing?
How did the Dodgers start this series?
Unreal, man.
They started by trying to paint themselves perhaps as the underdogs, and everyone pushed back on that. Goes, there's no way you're the underdogs. $1 billion roster, won more games than any other team in baseball, home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Don't try to do that. So then what do they pivot to? All right, the Padres are the villains. Manny Machado is the thug. Let's submit video. Let's call into question. Let's rally around this. Here's the problem and I didn't even foresee this when the series started. When you try to use the underdog role, you're trying to do that as a way to bring your team together. They may have succeeded in a way that Dave Roberts has not anticipated. They may now feel like they're not sure they can beat the Padres anymore. They have embraced their underdog role so much that they're now calling into question, can we actually even win this series anymore against the San Diego Padres? Because Dodgers fans, I feel like, have a right to be nervous coming into this game. There's no guarantee they're going to be able to get this back to Dodger Stadium in a Game 5.
Yeah.
That's their nightmare, that they don't even get an opportunity in a Game 5 of this series. Just like 2 years ago, they're coming down to Petco Park, and their season could end tomorrow night.
This is unbelievable, man. This has truly, truly been an unbelievable turn of events. In, again, I think it does. I think also it could be trying to take away some of the focus on, the incidents and everything that happened at Dodger Stadium the other night too. Again, Dave came out after the game and said, no, you shouldn't throw stuff at fans. Dave was remarkably silent during all of it, as were all of the Dodgers players as well. Again, I think anything that shifts focus away from you guys getting your asses handed to you, fine. I guess all is fair in love and war. But again, what you've done is you've now taken a target and you've put it right on Manny Machado's back for essentially no reason whatsoever. Again, and now you got these national hit pieces, and you got what you wish for, Dave. If it works out for you, brilliant move. If it doesn't, we know exactly what to point to.
So you also have an update on a story we haven't brought up yet involving Walker Buehler, tonight's starting pitcher, and some details that are emerging. I didn't even realize this was a news story. I saw it last night, and I thought, is this something that happened a couple of years ago? This is actually somewhat fresh. It did not happen yesterday, even though the headline came out yesterday.
Well, they made it seem like it. When I woke up this morning, I looked and I go, well, that's somebody's doing a fake deal. It says Dodger pitcher Walker Buehler robbed as mob surrounds him, stealing pricey watch.
So my heart, Padres fans at Petco Park ambushed Walker Buehler? What happened?
My heart sank. I pictured Walker and his wife walking over to what's the steakhouse over there?
Yeah, Lou and Mickey's or something.
Yeah, let's go grab a steak. And a gang of Padre fans circles up on him and says, "Give me your watch." And he's like, "Look at this.
They're wearing Ben and Woods shirts."
Yeah, Ben and Woods shirt. I'm like, "Oh my god!" So I wake up, I go, and I'm like wiping the crust out of my eyes. I'm like, "Is this made up? This sounds made up." And then so I looked. I said, "Wait, Santa Anita Park." I go, "That's really far away." I go, "Did this guy come down here, do a workout, do a press conference, get in his Ferrari, drive however far to Santa Anita to go place bets?"
Yeah, 2.5 hours.
2.5 hour drive. I'm like, he's got a game. He's got a game the next day. What is he thinking? And then turns out it happened on September 28th. Why this story came out now is weirder than hell, but that's kind of the way.
I assume there was a police report of some sort that came out and was made public. But yeah, apparently this Walker Buehler headline is true.
So he's a big horse race guy. Grew up in Kentucky. He has a micro share ownership in the American Thoroughbred Racehorse Authentic, trained by Bob Baffert, noted purveyor of PEDs in horses, by the way, and that won the Kentucky Derby in 2020. So Walker Buehler, big horse guy, nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But I did the layers that opened up to me as soon as I read the article. I'm like, this dude went to gamble on He went to gamble on horses like the day before a start. I was blown away. But no, the incident happened on September 28th. And, I'm glad he's okay. I'm glad his wife's okay. That's a scary moment for anybody. So, yeah, remember, everybody keep their heads about them down here. Don't be stealing any Dodger players' watches or anything.
There was an email sent by the Padres to season ticket holders.
Yeah, I saw that.
And that was from Eric Grupner. He just said, thank you for your faithful support of the Padres as we prepare for games 3 and 4 of the NLDS at Petco Park. He goes on, our game is at its best when our players and fans give everything they have for their team and city while showing respect and sportsmanship towards players and fans of the opposing team. There is never an excuse for abusive speech or behavior towards others at Petco Park. Our guest code of conduct can be found here. It contains a zero-tolerance policy for any violations, including throwing items onto the field or making offensive, foul, or abusive comments to anyone. Any guest who violates the code of conduct will be ejected immediately from Petco Park without refund.
I don't know if they have that same policy at Dodger Stadium in terms of abusive comments, because where I was sitting, they would have had to eject probably 400 people from the ballpark for abusive comments. All I really heard the entire game, and no one can hear them from where they're shouting them from the upper deck.
Right, of course.
But they are yelling abusive comments literally the entire game at Dodger Stadium. So.
Do we think tonight that Joe Davis will weave that narrative in? Walker Buehler towing the rubber after a violent robbery, lost a $100,000 watch. I again, probably trying to generate a little bit more sympathy for the Dodgers, and which has been the MO this week.
All right, when we come back, I want to, if anyone missed it, we had Dave Roberts talking about what Ken Rosenthal calls the sinister sling.
Come on.
By Manny Machado in Game 2. And then Jesse Agler will join us with his thoughts heading into Game 3. He'll be on the mic tonight with Tony Gwynn Jr. right here on 97.3 The Fan. Check Kelly's traffic and then more live from Baja Rick's Cantina in the Gas Lamp on San Diego's home of the Padres, 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Played out. This was just after Fernando Tatis Jr. had gotten hit, after Jack Flaherty and Manny Machado did some screaming at each other. You was warming up. On the final warm-up pitch, Kyle Higashioka throws it out to second base. The ball skips. So when it comes around the horn, instead of throwing it back to Yu Darvish, you got a new ball from the umpire. Manny is going to throw it into the dugout.
Yep.
He's on the third base side, so he throws it toward the third base dugout where the ball boy collects the balls that are unused.
Yeah,
so
skipped it in there.
Nothing is really unusual at this point. However, yesterday we find out that Dave Roberts thought that particular throw was done with a little too much intensity and a little too close to him, even though he didn't notice it at the time.
Never saw it.
Here's what Roberts had to say again yesterday at Petco Park.
Dave, last night, did the ball that Machado threw into your dugout almost hit you? And did you feel like that should have been an ejection? Because Tripp Gibson went over there right away to try to intervene, but that seemed to be what sparked the jawing between Flaherty and Machado. Did it almost hit you? Did you know that it came in hot?
I didn't notice it at the time. I really didn't. I didn't notice it. I did see the video, and it was unsettling. Obviously, I have a relationship with Manny from years past. There was intent behind it. It didn't almost hit me because there was a net, and that was very bothersome. If it was intended at me, I'd be very. It's pretty disrespectful. So I don't know his intent. I don't want to speak for him, but I did see the video, and the ball was directed at me with something behind it. So, but I don't know what led to that. I didn't see it in real time, but I did see the video.
Did you feel after seeing the video he should have been ejected for that?
I don't think they should have had a little arm around each other conversation. If players can throw balls at opposing managers, you know.
So yes, you think he should have been ejected? Is that what you're saying?
Ben,
now, can we agree
Ben,
that
do you finally denounce Dave Roberts?
If Manny Machado, fine.
You're ignoring the question.
Ben,
I'll ask you officially.
I'm in opposition to him here.
Do you denounce Dave
Repeat
Roberts?
after us.
Repeat after me. I, Ben Higgins.
I, Ben Higgins.
Formally denounce.
Formally denounce.
San Diego native Dave Roberts.
San Diego native Dave Roberts.
Forever.
Forever.
Thank you.
Ben, you do a great job.
And
can we burn that then?
Yeah.
Are we going to burn that
since the
soundbite
denouncement,
then? Right.
Adam, can you delete that from the system? It will never be played on our airwaves again.
So can we agree that if Manny wanted to hit someone, he would have gotten it a lot closer? Manny, you know the magic act where they blindfold the magician and they have the woman on the spinning wheel and they throw knives and he doesn't hit them? Manny can do that. Manny is fairly accurate with throws, so he knows where he's throwing the ball. Doesn't really take a lot of thought toward it.
And you also know I'm going to throw it over there, and like I always do, and they may take exception to it. You know that.
I mean, you're going to throw it over there anyway. So had he lobbed it really gently, no one would have said anything. Did he put a little extra behind it as he tossed it in? Was he probably emotional at that moment? Yeah, I can see that there was a little extra juice on it. Was there any chance of it ever hurting anyone? No. So, now the national media is taking sides. We talked about Ken Rosenthal's column. Craig Calcaterra, who we have had on the show many times before, national baseball writer, tweets this morning. Video of that sling makes the whole thing look laughable. Calling Machado a punk for it is even more laughable. The regular season is better than the postseason for a lot of reasons, but a big one is that national reporters looking to play narrative makers don't have the time to do it in the regular season. Flaherty pouted and plunked a guy. S. got chippy. Dodgers fans showed their asses, and Dave Roberts was too dumb to let it go. That's the story. Don't encourage this horse bleat. That's from a different perspective, from a different national writer.
I always knew I liked that Craig Calcaterra.
I love that Craig Calcaterra. I believe Craig grew up a Dodger fan as well. So, I mean, again, you're seeing it. You're seeing it. There's a lot of the both sides narrative. I saw Alana Rizzo in a Dodgers hat yesterday on her podcast talking about how, there's both sides were stupid last night, talking about the incidents, at Dodger Stadium. And it gives you that weird, you saw a lot of Dodger fans defending, you don't want stuff thrown at you. You shouldn't dance and smile. And do not flick your tongue or you will get stuff thrown at you. And, there's lots of videos going around of guys just rearing back, throwing a full Pacifico down on the field at Fernando, giving him the double bird banger, turning around to the crowd, giving them the double bird banger. And it's like, Yeah, I don't really, for Fernando, with his hands on his hips, just kind of moving his hips back and forth. Having a blast out there, by the way. And after being called homophobic slurs, F you, all this, fans are going to jaw. They're going to chirp. Players love it. They like to chirp back. There's nothing wrong with it at all. Don't cross the line into racism. Don't cross the line into personal. Don't cross the line into homophobic slurs. And let's keep it clean and have a great time. Have fun. Be creative with it. Calling somebody, a homophobic slur, that's not that difficult to do. And throwing your double birds at them, fine, man, whatever. They're going to give it back to you. You can't be surprised when players chirp back. Under no circumstances, is it okay to take a half-full Pacifico and launch it from the top rope down to the field. Under no circumstances do you take a baseball and throw it in the general vicinity of any player. There is no both sides to this story, Alana. There's one side. One side. You guys lost your cool. You lost control. It starts at the top. I texted with somebody in the Padres organization yesterday. And I said, I cannot believe this, man. I cannot believe this narrative is spinning out of control. And he goes, I can. Dave Roberts is, they call him Top Step Dave because that dude is the first guy on the top step. Bah, 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 bah. John at umpires, John at players, John at the opposing manager. He loves it. He loves it. That's how he fires himself up or tries to fire his team up or whatever. He's the first guy to light the fire, to stoke the fire, and he did it again today. He threw gasoline on this huge, really small campfire. He took gasoline, threw it all over it, and look at it now.
And again, you just said, yeah, it's not okay to throw a baseball at someone, and Dodger fans will say, well, didn't Manny Machado throw a baseball towards someone?
Yes.
And isn't that like what
to
the
the
fans
dugout.
did? Again, Manny was supposed to be throwing the baseball there. So keep that in mind. Now, if Manny reaches back and throws as hard as he can,
you can't do
95
that.
miles an hour,
Right.
he can't do that. There is kind of a dividing line. Like, okay, if you throw it like 5 miles an hour and lob it, no one's going to say anything.
Watch him tonight. I'll be watching him intently when he gets it.
I will as well. Now, no, most of the time you give it to the pitcher.
Yeah.
And he starts the inning with it. This was only simply because the ball had skipped and pitcher already had a new ball that he had to get rid of that one. So it was an unusual set of circumstances, but it obviously ramps things up to another level tonight.
It was a molehill, and Dave Roberts and the Dodgers have turned it into a mountain. And now can the Padres ascend said mountain? That's going to be the challenge tonight against a really talented team. So you have to do that. You can't let any of this BS boil over. I will say, look, man, if I can't imagine if anybody, I don't think there's going to be any, nobody's going to get dotted. Michael King's not going to come out and dot Shohei the first AB. You don't want to fire those guys up either. And I'll be really surprised. Walker Buehler he's a fiery dude too. He's going to try to get Manny out tonight. That's what in my opinion. I don't think there should be any carryover. This thing's got to die. It's a shame Dave Roberts didn't take a leadership role and kill it. He decided to breathe new life into it, and here we go.
I wouldn't be putting anyone on in front of Jackson Merrill at the moment anyway, so Dodgers need to win this game. Obviously, they know their season is on the line, especially if they lose this one, so we'll see. Jesse Agler, he's got to rise above the noise when he calls this game tonight. We will talk with the voice of the Padres as we continue our live broadcast from Rick's Baja Cantina in the Gas Lamp. Food coming out of the kitchen. We got Tier 1s are here now. Come on and join us. We're going to be here all day long on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
We'll be ready to go. I don't want to speak individually for some people. I mean, I think clearly, that team over there is, they like the villain type kind of role, and they feed off that.
Maybe you should try it. Nothing else has worked. Maybe you should try it.
I know enough, Woods, about movies to know when there's a villain, there's always the super villain behind the villains.
Yeah.
It's not ever the obvious one that you think. They're trying to make Manny Machado out
super
to be
villain,
the big boss, the big baddie. If Petco Park truly is the secret lair of villainy, my guess is the super villain pulling all the strings is probably Jesse Agler.
I couldn't agree more.
Don't you think?
I couldn't agree more.
It's always the one that you least suspect is actually the one who's the most devious.
Straight out of Central Casting, Jesse Agler as the supervillain makes a lot of sense to me.
He's very capable.
He's very
sharp.
He's very smart as a tack.
He's an assassin.
And the voice of the Padres will join us right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic sponsored by Ulta Beauty. We still have a few problems here, guys. One of them is this crash on the coastline, southbound 5 before Cannon, moving that into the center divide. Also traveling on westbound 52 right before the 805. Crash involving a couple vehicles there over to the right shoulder. Westbound side of the 8 for the 805. Accident involving a couple vehicles. It's in the clearing stage. Looks like that is over to the right shoulder. And eastbound side of the 8 just before Mission Center Road. We have reports of a collision, not showing if lanes are blocked. Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows speeds improving out of the South Bay, northbound side of the 805, and accident cleared near Bonita. The Emerald City came to Ulta Beauty with wicked collaborations from REM Beauty by Ariana Grande. It brushes for Ulta and OPI. Hurry in, these fantabulous products won't last long. See Wicked, November 22nd, only in theaters. Ulta Beauty, the possibilities are beautiful. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And we're joined right now by Dr. Evil himself, twirling his mustache and getting ready for Game 3 of the National League Division Series tonight. The voice of the Padres, Jesse Agler, back with us here on Ben & Woods. Concocting all your plots tonight, Jesse.
I have no comment, Ben Woods or Baja Rick. The supervillain does not, let the plans out in the public.
Of course
That's not
Yeah.
how he operates. Come on.
What was your perspective? Dan? I thought of you the other night, sitting in the press box at Dodger Stadium, watching what happened there unfold with stuff being thrown onto the field and all that. Probably not the first time you've seen things like that, Jesse, but that was pretty shocking. Of course, they only give us a little bit of a taste on television, not much.
What's funny is, we have seen it before. It's never good, right? But this is maybe a crazy thing to say. I actually thought it could have been worse.
Yeah.
I agree. We've seen that situation spiral before, where it becomes something that almost feels unstoppable. And there were obviously people behaving, as Passon would say, as nincompoops, but it wasn't necessarily an out of control situation. I think it probably could have moved along a little bit more quickly, but I think also on that stage they were trying to really make sure everything was settled, which I understand and appreciate. But it definitely could have gone worse. It wasn't good. It's a bad look for the Dodgers. It's a bad look for Dodger Stadium. You just never, ever, ever want to see anything come back onto the field, anywhere near a player. But it sort of was what it was. I was kind of rolling my eyes a little bit, like, all right, let's get this back. I just kept looking over to Darvish, who was warming up and then not, and then standing up and sitting down and throwing another pitch. And, I'm thinking to myself, this is the most important half inning of this game. Darvish is out there for the seventh inning. It's still a close game, and that was kind of where my head was at. It's a playoff game. The result is what mattered to me. And I was in my mind the whole time, I was like, all right, umpires, okay, security, let's get this thing on track here and get this all cleaned up so we can play baseball. But, it unfortunately does happen sometimes. Not a good look at all, but that's what happens sometimes. You get knucklehead.
Jesse, I agree with you. In fact, my wife texted me. She goes, why aren't they sending security out to that section? And I said, there is. But when you have 50,000 fans, you can never have enough security. If it's going to get out of hand, it could have gotten really bad, and it's probably we're all glad that it did not. Now, let's not forget about the fun aspects of that game as well. There's only one person in baseball history who has ever called 6 road home runs in a playoff game for their team, and that is Jesse Agler, because the Padres did that on Sunday. How fun was that game for you to call on Sunday, Jesse?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, it was, you remember the Stefan bit from Saturday Night Live? It's like, oh, this new club has everything. That's what that game felt like. It had everything. It had idiots throwing things onto the field. It had 6 home runs. It had, people yelling at each other. It was great theater. It was very, very entertaining. I know things have, perhaps taken a little bit of a turn in the last 24 hours or so in terms of the way people are looking at it. But, that was obviously, to be on the winning side, very, very fun. You just, the Padres are teeing off on every pitcher that came in for the Dodgers. You're up big late. You're kind of able to enjoy it. The stadium is emptying. Fernando's dancing. It was just tremendous fun all the way around. And to be able to see a little bit of history is always cool. It was great, and it was the exact kind of win. If you're going to lose game 1 on the road in a playoff series, I cannot imagine a better game 2 than the one the Padres had, because they grabbed all the momentum, they grabbed all the vibe. They were feeling themselves. You had Machado huddling the team in the dugout, which was just a really cool thing to see. The whole scene was wild. It felt surreal at times. It had a little bit of a fever dream aspect to it. And at the end of the day, you looked up and the Padres were up big on the scoreboard. And as you said, they had done something that had never been done before.
Talking to our pal Jesse Agler here on Ben and Woods this morning, and you mentioned fun. The guys were out there having fun. And as you know, called these games for a while, when you're playing the Los Angeles Dodgers, fun is not allowed. It is not allowed. You're not allowed to have fun. You're not allowed to move your hips. You're not allowed to flick your tongue. They take a lot of exception to a lot of things. The way that Trent Grisham swung the bat off of Clayton Kershaw, took exception to Andy Green, a few years ago. There's been some, it's been percolating for many, many years, Jesse. This rivalry is really, it's grown to something pretty ridiculous at this point based on what happened this morning, sending the video of Machado off to the MLB team offices. And do you expect any suspension for our beloved captain and third baseman Manny Machado today?
No. I mean, unless there's a different video that shows something totally different, which is hard to imagine, being the case. I mean, I was in the Dave Roberts press conference yesterday, and I was actually going to ask like the next question, and it was just, I had like a very basic baseball question I wanted to ask him, and then when that question was asked to Dave, and it certainly appeared to be kind of, set up. That happens sometimes. Like the reporter was asked perhaps to ask that question. That's kind of the way it sounded to me, at least. I don't know that to be a fact. I was stunned.
Yeah.
I was absolutely stunned. I was sitting there. My jaw might have actually dropped in the auditorium at Petco Park. And I was looking around like, is this really happening? And, so I'm listening to Dave, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just thinking about it. And I was absolutely flabbergasted that was a thing that was coming up. And then when he mentioned the video, I'm thinking to myself, man, they must have some really damning evidence if they're going this way with it. And then when we saw the video last night, I was just kind of scratching my head like, what's going on here? So, I've been thinking about it ever since, like everybody else. And here's my takeaway of the whole thing. I've been in every Dave Roberts media availability. I like to think I know Dave pretty well. I've known him since he was a coach with the Padres, and we've always gotten along very, very well. I think he's a very good human being deep down. But like, I have heard him say on multiple occasions in the last few days publicly, our team, meaning his Dodgers, needs to be able to match the energy of the Padres. He has not been shy about that. He has talked openly about the Padres being the more energetic team, being the more emotional team. And so the only thing I can think of coming out of that yesterday, because I was really totally shocked by the whole deal, is that he's just trying to get his guys at least close to where the Padres are from like an emotional whatever standpoint. An energy standpoint is maybe the better word to use. And, if this is what he thinks is going to do that, then okay, that's his job. Sure. But like, it's the only thing I can think of, because he has talked openly about matching the Padres' energy, and the Dodgers have not. He even said straight up they didn't match, or we didn't match their energy in Game 2, and it was an interesting thing to hear him say out loud and publicly. I think there's maybe a little bit of desperate times call for desperate measures. He openly, basically yesterday, talked about Mookie Betts' struggles in the postseason. He didn't try and cover it up. He didn't try and say, no, I'm not worried about last year or the year before. I'm only worried about this year, which is normally, I think, what you might hear from a manager. He has said, no, Mookie did struggle in the playoffs last year. He is struggling in the playoffs this year. I want him to go out there and be himself. And, I think he's just trying to figure out what levers to pull to try and get his team going, because he recognizes that from an energy standpoint, they are not in a good position relative to where the Padres are. So the good news is you're coming into Petco Park. It's going to be an unbelievable environment tonight. Padres are obviously going to feed off that as they have all year long, and away we go.
Jesse Agler is 100% right. It is Dave Roberts' job to try to pull whatever strings he can to get his team together and try to win. You know whose job it is not, though? To buy into what Dave Roberts is trying to sell. That is the national media. And it disappoints me, Jesse, when you see a column, I don't know Ken Rosenthal personally, but you see a column like this morning where he kind of pretty much laps up what Dave Roberts has to say about Manny Machado and calls into question, Manny's history again, and buys into the villain narrative. Remember, this is a team that is playing with the PS hearts on their chest, that are playing for an owner who you cannot call into question Peter Seidler's motivations, his generosity, his philanthropy, and really the real motivation behind the Padres this season. I think that is the story. And if that gets lost in terms of now this all of a sudden is the villainous team that's trying to win the World Series and not the one that is trying to win it for their owner who said we were going to have a parade in San Diego, to me that's a shame. You don't have to buy into what Dave Roberts is selling.
I listened to you guys chat with Jeff Passan yesterday, which I thought was really good, and this obviously overlaps with that a little bit. Here's what I felt as a sports fan for a really long time in my life, and this is long before, I became the Padres radio guy. Why do any of us care what the national guys write and say? We shouldn't. It doesn't matter. And you know how you change narratives and you sort of get, to whatever level you're trying to get to in terms of national respect is by winning championships. That's it. And so that's what we should be caring about. Caring about the wins, caring about getting deeper into the postseason, caring about winning this year and another year and another year. That's how you level up. in terms of the way the national media is going to treat you. And stuff like this, it's just noise. As a fan, I truly don't care what a national writer or talking head on television is writing or saying about my team. I got bigger fish to fry. The reality is right now, if you're a Padre fan, you are living in a golden era of baseball and coverage. You've got the best TV booth in the league. You've got one of the best radio booths in the league. You've got Ben and Woods every morning. You've got really good coverage from multiple outlets, right? Right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. You've got so many great ways to sort of consume the Padres. So what do you care what's being written, by somebody who's not around the team that much, or said by somebody who's never been to Petco Park? As a fan, forget broadcaster, as a fan, I don't care what those people are writing and saying. I don't need validation from them. And I just tune that stuff out. I really do.
It's funny, though. I mean, and I agree with you. I agree what you're saying. I think it's the right way to live. It's the right way to carry yourself. I think my issue, like I mentioned to Passon yesterday, is you want to talk about how to change the narrative. The narrative is to win and win championships. And like I asked Jeff Passon, who has done less with more than that team in Los Angeles? And you never ever hear that narrative from the national media. You really don't. So that was kind of my...
I think if you went back and you looked at when they got bounced, like last year when they got swept by the Diamondbacks, there was story after story. What did Freeman and Betts do? 1 for 21 in that series?
Yeah.
What was their starting pitcher ERA? It was like 25 in those 3 games. You can go find those stories. They got torn apart last year. When the Padres beat them 2 years ago, quite frankly, the story was more about the Padres coming out of it, because the Padres had gone 5-14 against the Dodgers that year. And in a good way, if you're looking for national validation, everybody
100%.
was riding the Padres and saying, hey, what an unbelievable job by the Padres. They slayed the dragon, da-da-da-da-da. And then last year, the Dodgers got ripped apart pretty good. So I don't think it's right to say the Dodgers haven't taken their lumps the last couple of years. There is a big market thing. Those teams are always going to get more attention. That's big business.
Yes.
But who cares? That does not matter. You don't need that coverage as a Padre fan right now. You don't have to rely on ESPN or Fox Sports or whoever else. You've got great local options. Enjoy them.
So, Jesse, before you go, we didn't do the incorporator last week. We were going to give you the playoffs off. But because Jeff Passon, since you were listening, requested it yesterday, we felt
a
compelled.
request.
Hey, you've been talking about us?
Yeah, since you were obviously chatting with Jeff Passon at some point, it feels like, about Ben and Woods. If he knows about the incorporator, Paulie pulled a little clip. So you do have a very simple task in tonight's Game 3 broadcast. Here you go, Jeff.
And before I go, guys, Jesse Agler, the incorporator, defenestrate.
I love that one.
We've done it.
We may have done that one. Yes,
we've done it.
We've exhausted the English language for Jesse. He nails it every time.
Okay. I have backups.
Okay.
Promulant.
Okay, the fake Simpsons word. I love that one. That's a good one. We haven't done that one yet.
I like onomatopoeia. Could we do boing?
Boing. That's a great one. How about that? Boing. Jesse, your incorporator word tonight is boing.
No problem. And the craziest part is I've had many conversations with Passon over the years. I adore him. We have never talked about the incorporator, so he knew about that all on his own. That's how big his show is.
My God.
Boing. All right, Jesse.
Well done,
Good luck
Alan
tonight.
Klug.
We will see you at the ballpark. Thank you so much, as always.
Shazam.
The great Jesse Agler.
Jesse. And I want to follow up as we head into hour number 4 coming up next. Jesse eloquently and got some applause from the congregation here at Baja Rick's Cantina when he said, don't care about what the national media writes. They don't know your team. It doesn't matter what they're saying about your team. He's 100% right, but I also feel like there's something that he's missing there as well that I just want to bring up.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we will do that when we come back. Final hour of Ben and Woods live from Baja Rick's. We're here all day.
Woo!
Stop on by. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the food. Enjoy Annie and Elston coming up at 10 o'clock. Win and Chris program at 2. Down here in the Gas Lamp on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Rule number 1, can't interrupt Black Betty. Welcome back, live at Baja Rick's Cantina in the Gas Lamp. It's Ben and Woods for one more hour. We've got our Reindl Report coming up here in a couple of minutes. I do want to say, Jesse he knows so much. He's got such great wisdom and perspective on baseball, even for a younger man. Jesse's been doing this for a while, though, and he understands. He's absolutely correct when he says the people who cover your team, whether it's us, him, Annie, Kevin Acey, Dennis Lynn, they're always going to have a much better, more nuanced perspective and understanding of what's going on with Manny Machado, even compared to the best of the baseball insiders like Jeff Passan. We had a great conversation with Jeff yesterday. We all disagree with what Ken Rosenthal wrote today. But the reason why I think it does matter more than Jesse says is that most of the rest of the country isn't reading Kevin Acey. They're not listening to Ben and Woods in Tulsa every day. I know North Carolina's listening. Shout out North Carolina this morning. But when Ken Rosenthal writes that, and then I talked to someone about the Padres, the only thing they were going to talk about is, oh, you covered Manny Machado.
Yeah.
What a bad guy.
What a nightmare.
Is he as bad of a guy as everyone says he is? And
Yeah,
then I have
man.
to, every single time I have to go, no, actually, he's not. He's a really great guy. We've had an incredible relationship. You wouldn't understand what a great leader he is in that clubhouse. Well, that's not what I heard.
Well,
and it's like, fine, and here it doesn't matter, but elsewhere it does matter.
Yeah, you'd hate the work that he does, the money that he raises for the Peter Seidler Foundation, every donation he matches. He's one of 2 players on the team to do that. You'd hate the shelter that he helped build. You'd hate the baseball camp that my son Bo got to go to, where Manny Machado walked around to every individual group, worked with damn near every kid there, and really wanted them to have a special experience. This is the morning after his kid's been up since 4 a.m. I was talking to his wife about it. The Manny Machado that spent 6 hours on a training table just so he could play. You don't hear those stories. Those stories are not written by the national media. You hear them here from us, certainly. But, again,
they don't generate clicks.
Correct.
They don't sell.
Yeah.
So,
Dave,
drama and conflict sell, and that's what they're going to focus on.
Yeah, Dave got what he wanted today, and man, it's just another one of those incidents where Manny's going to have to answer questions about it, and you know what he's going to say. I don't care. I'm ready to play ball. We're out there to play baseball. Manny says play baseball 1,000 times a season. Why? Because that's what he loves to do. He loves to play baseball, and that's what he's going to do. And you know what, man? I think about this. Like, if I've got kids. My kids emulate Manny Machado. And if my kids have the career and have the personal life, you ever heard of Manny getting in trouble off the field ever once? I've never heard of not one incident.
0.
Never. Out too late, drinking and driving, nothing. I've not heard of one single thing about this guy. You know what he likes to do? He likes to go home, be with his wife, be with his kids. That's it. Likes to hang out with family. Like, that's it. So, again, you can paint people with a certain brush for what they do in between the lines, but I do feel, you know what, man, some of the stuff he's gotten early in his career, absolutely warranted. Great. People grow, people change. You wouldn't have been, me at 25, you would have absolutely hated me. I wouldn't have been here on time every day. I wouldn't have been ready to go every day. I would have rarely shown up. People change. People are different, but nobody wants to talk about that. So it's just a really disappointing morning, based on the actions of Dave Roberts.
Woods, I want to thank Santos Super Premium Additive-Free Tequila for sponsoring today's broadcast live from Baja Rick's Cantina all day long. We got a couple of bottles here. The Reposado and Pauly there has the Mezquila. Got a little bit of the smokiness to it. I thought got a little bit left here.
You're going to put some in your coffee?
Just give it a little.
Oh, you are hard.
A little splash there.
Wow, Benny.
Just add it for the last hour of the show here today. Thank you, Santo. It is from Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Sammy Hagar.
This is Hagar's?
And world-renowned chef Guy Fieri. Santo, work hard, play loud. That is a good. I've never had tequila and coffee. That's a good combination, actually.
I never
have
either.
Very tasty. And
Didn't know that was a thing.
While I recover from that sip, let's go to Pauly for today's Reindl Report and get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right. All right. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. A couple of football notes we did not get to yesterday. Of course, the Aztecs beat the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors.
Yep.
Beat the A1FA.
The A1FA.
But the big news was in the top 25, as it always is. And Texas is your new number 1 in college football after Alabama lost to Vanderbilt. And I saw that the students over the weekend, I missed that game entirely. I saw the highlights of the students throwing the goalpost into the Cumberland River in downtown Nashville.
Like 2 miles away from the stadium, too.
They had to drag it down there.
It was like 14 years ago. The one time I've been to Nashville, we stayed kind of by Vanderbilt, and I go, the river, that's downtown on like Broadway. That was a long way. Like we took a cab ride there, and I looked it up. It's like 3.2 miles that they marched this thing down.
You can't get an Uber with. We got 2 passengers and goalposts that we're going to be driving downtown. I didn't see any of the game. I was at Dodger Stadium. I just happened to log on to like the scores, and I go, "What? Vanderbilt beat Alabama 40-35." The Commodores had been 0-60 against top 5 teams in school history until they beat Alabama. And Alabama coming off that win over Georgia, looking like not going to miss a beat after Nick Saban's gone. Now Kalen DeBoer probably facing a lot of questions. The old Nick Saban, this never would have happened under Nick Saban.
It never did.
And, it never did. So
we said back in January, you don't want to be the guy that replaces Nick Saban. You want to be the guy that replaces the guy.
Well, he was doing just fine. He beat Georgia. Everything looked like it was just running full steam ahead, and then Vanderbilt happened.
There's a lot of parity in college football this year, more so than we've ever seen, and I think that's a good thing, honestly. Playoffs are going to be fun as hell, electric.
Expanded.
Anybody, it's anybody's ball game right now.
Yep.
Ohio State's nasty. These are not, though. These aren't your dad's Commodores. They're not. They're not. They are. They have invested in their team, and should be a lot of fun to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, Golden Gophers upset USC, whose playoff chances took a big hit. Washington beat Michigan in a national championship rematch.
Yep.
The Huskies coming through at home.
Parity, baby.
Yeah, Michigan dropped all the way down to 24 after that. Your top 5 looks like Texas, Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State are all 5-0. 4-1 Georgia at number 5, and then undefeated Miami, Alabama, Tennessee, Ole Miss, and Clemson round up the top 10.
Nice.
All right. Yesterday we were talking about our Jeff Passan interview. He was on with us for 22 minutes yesterday, man. That was great. And you made a joke about, Shams could never or something like that when we were roasting him from the chat.
Commenters mentioned it, and I thought I sensed just a hint of awkwardness from Jeff. He didn't really address it so much because the rumors were out there.
Everybody was laughing. I heard Woodsy like, please don't leave. You can't leave.
Yeah. That he was going to take over as the new NBA insider for ESPN.
And he was going to be like a super insider and maybe do both. It was just so weird. Well, maybe an hour after we got off the air yesterday, Jeff Passan posted the clip from Wolf of Wall Street, Leonardo DiCaprio. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going anywhere. Yep. He used some more choice words. And then it was announced shortly after that ESPN has poached Shams Charania from The Athletic, and I think Stadium is where he was at. And he is going to be the heir apparent. I mean, depending on who you asked, he was already the number 1 guy. It was either 1A and 1B, him and Woj.
Yep.
Woj moves on. They bring in Shams, so now ESPN maintains their role at the top of the NBA insider list.
So a couple of thoughts on this. I was surprised just because I would have assumed that Shams, like The Athletic and Stadium, would have had a deal, like locked him up and not allowed this. Maybe Shams was smart enough having an out, like, hey, but if ESPN ever comes calling, I
leave.
can take that job. I've got like an exception because there really is no more top job than being ESPN's if you're an NBA guy. Being their top NBA insider. And you mentioned Woj. I don't know if either of you saw this, but Woj did Jim Rome's podcast, I think it was, yesterday. And he's taken over at his alma mater, St. Bonaventure, working in their athletic department. And he said something that A guy I've known for a long time, Lee Jenkins, used to write for Sports Illustrated. He is now vice president of PR and marketing with the Clippers.
My beloved.
And Woj said, Lee Jenkins gave me some advice that I took to heart. He says, you can be great at something, but you don't have to do it forever. And Woj said, you're right. You know what? I've done this. I've loved it. I've been great at it, but it doesn't mean that I have to do it forever. And I immediately thought of Woods going, I feel like Woods has got that attitude as well.
100%.
He doesn't feel like he has to do this forever. And how am I going to convince him not to Woj himself at some point and just pack up one day and go, you know what? I've done this enough. I don't have to do this forever. I'm leaving you, Ben.
Yeah, hanging on too long is one of my greatest fears, man. It's you got to know when to fold them. I will say this with Adam on the line here. If Sirius XM comes calling and I'm allowed to curse while I do my show, I'm sorry. I don't know that there's any amount of money that you could offer me to make me stay. If I could actually be my true, authentic self and let the F-bombs fly, this morning would have been the most legendary show you've ever heard. I've had to keep some in reserve, though. So Sirius,
they're going to make you talk about the NFL 87% of the time, which you're never going to do.
That's true.
And Shams, I'm reading. He's only 30 years old, man.
Jesus,
I remember
dude,
when he kind of burst onto the scene. In college, he was working on networking with NBA sources, and now he's 30 years old, and he's the guy.
Are you sure he's not just an AI, just like a bot or something? He's an actual person. People have seen him in real life, right? He's not.
I'm assuming
he's not just. He looks kind of fake in that picture, doesn't he?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, and then finally, it is October. It is almost spooky season, and that means trick-or-treating, especially if you have young kids, Woods. And what do you say when you knock on the door? It's trick-or-treat.
Trick-or-treat.
What's the rest of that?
Smell my feet. Give me something good to eat.
Yes. Well,
if you don't, I don't care. I'll pull down your underwear.
Yeah, you can't
which
do
is
that
very
anymore.
creepy.
Right,
You probably
very creepy.
shouldn't do that. Trick-or-treat, smell my feet. And Airheads is taking that to the next level. They are releasing a candy-scented foot spray that smells like Airheads because trick-or-treat, smell my feet.
Oh.
I don't want to smell anybody's feet,
Even
and
if
I
they
don't
smell
need
like
to smell
Airheads,
it like
no.
Airheads.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the worst smelling foot you could have.
It's going to smell like the cherry, the red, the red Airheads bar.
You gonna buy some for Hannah?
I'm all in.
Is this your plan?
I'm on
Airheads
board.
foot spray.
Well, if you would like to, they're not going to sell them right away. You can go on their website. They are giving away limited quantities. So go to airheadsfootspray.com and get yours today.
Elisa says Dave Roberts probably hands out pennies to trick-or-treaters. Yeah, probably toothbrushes, oranges, little mini tangerines.
What's the worst trick-or-treat? Well, I mean, what's the worst thing you can get?
Like as far as candy
corn, yeah.
Candy corn.
Candy corn.
It's up there.
That's like the worst Halloween giveaway.
Yeah.
I don't really like Mike and Ike's. I think those are garbage.
I mean,
Charleston shoes are hideous.
I can't stand Mounds and Almond Joy,
Oh,
but
I
you
love them. Bring me all your Mounds.
You love Mounds.
What did you say? Oh, you love them? Oh, man. How about raisins? It's garbage. I mean, I like raisins, but I don't want them for Halloween.
What about Raisinets? Covered
Disgusting.
in chocolate? No,
Absolutely
nothing
disgusting.
like that. No.
Now, I changed my tune. I used to not like the 100-gram bar. I thought it was for pederasties. I love it now. It's like one of my favorite candy bars. I love them. They're absolutely delicious.
I've actually got top Halloween candies are M&M's, Reese's Cups, Sour Patch Kids, Skittles, Starbursts, Hot Tamales, candy corn, Hershey Kiss, Hershey Mini Bars, and Butterfinger.
I'll eat them. I will eat a Hershey mini bar so fast make your head spin. Just the
They have,
plain little chocolate bars.
So I was walking through Costco the other day, as I tend to do, and they were giving out samples of the mini candy packs. And so I'm looking there, and there's a mini Twix bar, and I'm going, all right, who are these samples for?
Who's not had one?
I've always wanted to try a Twix bar. Oh, is that what that tastes like? Thank you for the sample. I was so curious my entire life what a mini Twix bar tasted like.
Do you have
No,
to?
I ate that thing.
Do you
no
have
problem.
to do the bit where you walk up and you go,
Interesting.
what is this?
Oh, what is that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'll take that.
That's good. You know what it tastes like? It tastes like a Twix. I've had 7,000 of these.
It wasn't even the Kirkland version. It was just an actual Twix bar.
Twix
I'm going,
brand Twix bar.
Who are you trying to convince here? Honestly, it made no sense. Okay, yeah, that's a Twix bar.
That's fantastic.
Just like the other 800 I've had in my life.
You wonder if they're like, bro, we have way too much inventory. They're like, just give out samples of this. I mean, you have no idea why.
There's the whole element of the Costco samplers, the people who like hover and circle while they're bringing out the new
nuggets
items,
or whatever.
The people who do the big circles around the aisles
How
so
much
they can
do you
like get them
graze
again.
there?
I only if I'm walking by and there's something sitting
there.
right there. I
Okay.
will not like wait. I will not come back. But if it's sitting there and it's like, all right, I'll take it as I go by.
For sure. That's fantastic.
And that is our Reindl Report, Paulie. Thank you very much.
Very welcome.
All right, we'll come back. We got Game 3, obviously, today. But don't forget, there's also a Game 4 tomorrow. And
guaranteed.
We still don't have a pitching matchup on either side for that game. What Mike Schilt had to say about Game 4 coming up with Ben and Woods after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Manny and Elston are coming up at 10 o'clock. Next up, still a long ways off from our Sammy Levitt Eco Water SoCal pregame show at 5:08. First pitch tonight at 6:08. And there are a couple of questions still lingering for tonight and tomorrow, Woods, with this series. First, the status of Xander Bogaerts, who came out after hitting that home run, dealing with the leg cramping, and we'll have an update here, some Mike Shildt audio. Also, who is going to pitch tomorrow in Game 4 for the San Diego Padres? Mike Shildt addressed both of those issues at yesterday's off-day news conference.
Just wanted to check in on Xander Bogaerts and how he's doing today after last night.
We're pretty optimistic. There was just a little bit of dehydration, and he's going to be just fine. There's nothing that we feel like is going to be anything that's going to compromise him, but we'll find out more today after he gets treatment, but we're optimistic.
Mike, now that we know that there will be a Game 4, do you have any update on who would potentially start that game? And is it contingent on what happens in Game 3?
Not necessarily contingent upon Game 3. We do have an idea. We're going to finalize today and maybe announce something either today or tomorrow.
Is Dylan Cease an option for that on short rest?
All options are on the table at this point.
All options are on the table, but the fact that he has an idea and they may announce it at some point today leads me again to believe it's not going to be Dylan Cease. There's almost no way you'd start Dylan Cease if you won today's game.
Correct.
I mean, you think about it maybe if you're down 2-1, you hate firing your last bullets without putting your best players in an elimination game, but if you've already have a good idea who it's going to be, I mean, the plan for the Padres is to win tonight and have tomorrow be a clinching game. And if you've got that opportunity, my guess is as you did in the first series, you're going to save Dylan Cease in reserve again for a Game 5 if necessary. You could even bring back Michael King in a bullpen role in Game 5 if necessary. Yu Darvish, same thing. Everything's on the table there. So I'm still thinking, Woods, we'll see Xander tonight. Dehydration sucks. I've had those cramps where you're golfing all day and you didn't drink enough water and all of a sudden it hits you. They're bad, but they don't generally linger for 2 days. You get some, I'm sure you got some fluids, probably feeling hopefully fine today, not worried about Xander. What do you think the Padres are going to do tomorrow based on what you heard from Mike Shildt?
Honestly, man, I think it would probably be I think it'd be a nice short outing one time through the lineup for a Martin Perez, and then you rely on your bullpen. You probably you try to hold guys back tonight if you can. The Brian Hoeings of the world, maybe even the Adrian Morejones. Again,
another 7 innings from Michael King would do the trick.
Another 7 innings of Michael King tonight, and an offense that shows up and roasts Walker Buehler, the watchless Walker Buehler. Roast him tonight, and it certainly opens up a lot more options for you tomorrow. I don't. It's hard for me to imagine that it's not really contingent on what happens. That's something that you say. Plans change. I think you have to be fluid during the playoffs, and they have been. And obviously Joe going down is a huge blow. And it just breaks your heart. But, like Mike Shildt says, losers complain, winners find solutions.
Yes.
I trust that the brain trust will find a solution.
I would be very tempted, and I don't think Mike Shildt will be, but I would be tempted to maybe go with an opener like Adrian Morejon, who we saw get it, up in Shohei's kitchen. He got a hit, but he broke his bat.
Yeah.
Get a tough, hard-throwing left-hander in there the first time, to try to set the tone and get a 0 on the scoreboard in the top of the inning tomorrow. And then, you could have Martin Perez for length. If you got 2 out of Adrian Morejon, perhaps, you could even
awesome.
You could even bring a righty in to face the bottom of the lineup and then bring in Perez for the second time, lefty against Shohei Ohtani, and have him be your length guy. I would assume, though, that Martin Perez will get the start and will be in there, assuming, he's throwing well. 12 batters is kind of what the baseline is.
Yeah.
Get through Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman once. As a lefty, you probably give them the second shot at Ohtani and Freeman, and then after that, all bets are off.
Yeah,
you may go to the bullpen at that point. You may not, depending on how he's doing, but my guess is he will go with Martin Perez tomorrow.
There's not a lot of guys on this roster that I don't trust in a big moment, and Martin Perez is a winner. Pitched for the Rangers last year. I've seen some pretty amazing things this playoff so far from other teams. Jose Quintana's performance the other night was outstanding. Matthew Boyd, his performance was outstanding yesterday going up against Tarek Skubal. It's the playoffs, and big-time players make big-time plays in the playoffs. So I think whatever they decide, man, I'm in favor of it. And there's a ton of options. You mentioned Sean Reynolds out there throwing, yesterday, and if his knee is holding up, he may be an interesting piece to add as well. So I really have no idea what they're going to do. I don't think you really need to do anything until you see how tonight goes, but I've been wrong before.
So essentially what you need tomorrow is if you can get 5 innings out of the combination of Perez, Morihone, Hoeing, and if you needed to bring in a Peralta or Matsui, that gets you to your 4, Estrada, Adams, Scott, Suarez for 4 innings. If you can get through 5, ES if you add Estrada.
Yes.
So, I see a path of 5 innings from those guys. You can get through that game with good arms. We're not talking about bad arms at all. We're talking about good arms that the Padres can use in that game tomorrow. One other note from yesterday. I did see that, I don't know if he was listening to the program, speaking of Jeremiah Estrada. He brought up the same idea that I did, that Major League Baseball maybe shouldn't play Game 5 at Dodger Stadium based on the antics of the fans in Game 2, that just keep everybody down here, move it to San Diego. He said, quote, if I was the commissioner of baseball, I wouldn't even allow a Game 5 at their place. Why? Why would you want to test that to happen? Again, that's hard to control people. Something's going to happen. This is, of course, Estrada, who grew up as a Dodgers fan. That's not going to happen. Major League Baseball has made it fairly known through channels that they are, if this series goes 5, it will go back to Dodger Stadium for a 5th game. But I wasn't the only one who brought that up yesterday, Woods.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought, but never going to happen.
Yeah,
certainly.
And just like suspending Manny Machado is an interesting thought by the Dodgers, but is never going to happen.
Bob Nightingale just tweeted an article that says MLB is not going to move a potential Game 5 from Dodger Stadium, no matter what the Padres want. MLB is not going to suspend Manny Machado, no matter what the Dodgers want. Peaceful behavior from the Padres fans tonight, that's what both teams want. I don't know that you can say that. I don't know that you can say both teams want peaceful behavior from Padres fans after the BS that you pulled yesterday at the press conference and the BS that you pulled, so far today. But I would like that. I would like Padres fans to show them how it's done this morning and let them know this is how we do it in San Diego. We're not like you guys. Their big song is not like us. Let's not be like them. Let's be like us.
By the way, peaceful behavior does not mean quiet.
Right, yeah.
Peaceful behavior still means loud, disruptive to the Dodgers, raucous. You need to make things uncomfortable for the Dodgers. You just can't throw things onto the field.
Correct.
And you shouldn't be fighting in the stands. After that, you should be screaming at them and making them feel it today and tomorrow while you're here. You've got a chance to end this series, not send it back up to a Game 5. Do everything you can to make sure the Padres get it done, because this isn't just about beating the Dodgers. A couple of years ago, it felt
like that.
A little bit
this
like it was just about beating the Dodgers.
This needs
is
to
just
be a speed bump. Yeah,
it's a step.
Yep.
And your best chance of winning the World Series is to beating the Dodgers in 4.
Yep.
And having at least 3 days off before you either have to go to Philadelphia or have the Mets come to Petco Park for an NLCS. Let those teams beat up on each other while you're taking care of business at home. If it goes 5, fine. It's not the end of the world. If you get through them, you get through them. That's the most important thing. But if you are a World Series team, generally the World Series champs take care of business in the early rounds. Padres have a chance to take care of business in the next 2 days here at Petco Park.
Just another baseball game, man. That's it. That's how you have to approach it tonight.
With a good pitcher on the mound
with
and Michael
Good pitcher on the mound and a good lineup that's swinging the bats well. So that's it.
All right, we're going to take our final timeout. When we come back, we will give away some tickets. Adam will give away tickets back in the studio. Call in to win Sublime and Rome coming to Gallagher Square with Rome. Sublime.
It's Jim Rome.
With Rome.
It's
Romy,
Sublime.
Ben Smack.
Jim
Clones.
Rome. Yeah, clones.
With Sublime. We'll do that when we come back with Ben Woods, live from the Gas Lamp. We're at Rick's Baja Cantina. Oh, that's right. Baja Rick's Cantina.
He's had way too much tequila
Ben
already.
is hammered.
Go Padres on San Diego's #1 sports station. 97.3 The Fan. Segment of Ben and Woods here on a playoff Tuesday, live from Baja Rick's Cantina in the Gas Lamp. I have sobered up during the break, and I'm ready to give away some tickets. If you want to call in right now, fifth caller at 833-288-0973 is going to win a pair of tickets to see Sublime with Rome at Gallagher Square on November 23rd. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Fifth caller, 833-288-0973. Sublime with Rome at Gallagher Square on November 23rd.
Got it.
Adam, while you're doing that, you can play some traffic for us.
You need to go pull the trigger or something? You
good?
You good?
On 97.3 The Fan.
Hair of the dog? Or?
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Wrapping up our morning drive with a couple of stalled vehicles, one blocking the right lane on southbound 5 before Genesee, stalled semi blocking the right lane on northbound 805 before Market Street. Up ahead, north 805 just before Governor, there is a collision involving a couple cars. It's got the fast lane blocked. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Woods, you asked a question during the break. Do the Padres just go with the same lineup as Game 2? They scored 10 runs and hit 6 home runs and featured David Peralta in there and Luis Arraez playing first base.
Well, if there's one thing that we know about Mike Schultz is he likes to ride the hot hand, doesn't he? I mean, he likes to stay consistent, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We've heard all of that this year, and I tend to agree with that, and I think you got to get David Peralta in there. I'm looking at some of the numbers against Walker Buehler. Fernando Tatis Jr., no surprise, pretty much owns Walker Buehler right now. OPS over 1,000, 4 bombs in 29 ABs against him. Peralta's hit 226. He's had some success off of him. Gets on base against him. Jackson Merrill, 500 average. Manny, 286. Higgy, 500. Profar has struggled with Walker Buehler a little bit this year.
What about Solano? Because that would be the question of him versus Peralta.
Solano is 0 for 8.
All right. Well, then I would say, go with David Peralta again. Get the lefty in there, and you'll be aggressive. If they bring in a left-hander at some point to pitch, even if it's the 4th or 5th inning, then you can make that switch over to Donovan Solano. The only drawback there is if you needed to, those are your 2 best pinch hitters. Whoever's not starting, Peralta, Solano.
Right.
Do you want to hold them into reserve later in the game in case there's a big situation, or do you want to aggressively switch your lineup in the middle of the game once they, switch pitchers and go to a different hand?
Yeah, I mean, look, the bench that we kind of all looked at as a big strength this entire season. I think this is the case for every postseason team. You get to the playoffs, and where you're tempted to make those moves a little earlier because of the do-or-die nature of the games, your bench just, at the end of the day, you look, you go, all right, it's the 8th, and I've got Lockridge and Wade. One guy can get a bunt down. One guy's decent on defense with some really good speed that can steal a bag, and it doesn't look as sexy as it once did. Elias Diaz, being the backup for Higgy. It's not as sexy in the playoffs as we thought it was.
There's a reason why in the regular season, for the most part, you held on to Peralta or Solano for late at-bats. Why wouldn't you do the same, even though it's a playoff game?
Boy, you get that feeling of like we're running out of time, we're running out of innings, we need a spark, we got to go matchup based here. And I know think about the playoffs. What we've seen, other than Boyd and Skubal yesterday, nobody's really given, and King against the Braves, no one's given a ton of length. There's not a ton of 7-8 innings. Everyone's quick to make that jump to the bullpen. And so I think the same thing goes with the lineup. As soon as they jump to the bullpen, well, I got a righty that can counter this lefty that they just brought in. I know it's the 5th, but you see guys making those moves, and I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know what I would do if I was in the same position, but it's going to change. They're not riding. They're not riding the same pitchers for 3-4 innings. It's a different guy. So your bench becomes very important. I don't know that you want just those 3 guys left at the end of the bench if there's a big spot coming. So it's a tough call for Schulte.
Obviously, you're still riding with Kyle Higashioka. I mean, you need his hot bat, especially with the numbers you mentioned, decent against Walker Buehler. I will bring it up again, though. I don't know that you want to get in the same situation you were 2 years ago where Ostanola caught every
Well, you've already got
single
Diaz
game.
in. Diaz has already gotten in. So
Late in the game.
Yeah,
but he
fine.
hasn't started a game.
You don't need him to start a game really right now.
No, but
You
at
don't.
some point you're going to have to put him in. I don't
You
know,
can't
game 4 tomorrow possibly, if you think about
You can't take
Diaz.
Higgy's bat out of the lineup right now. He's the hottest hitter in Major
I
League
promise
Baseball.
that's a short conversation if Schilt goes up to Higgy and he's like, "Hey, how you feeling?" He's like, "I'm good. Are you seeing how I'm swinging it? I'm
but
fine."
Remember, 2 years ago, Ostanola was hot in the first, he against
Yeah.
the Mets.
If it
started hot against the Dodgers, then slowly wore down until he was completely useless at the plate and
That was
looked like
different.
a shell.
There was something going on behind the scenes with Alfaro.
There was.
It was petering out.
But I just assume at some point Elias Diaz is going to get a start. Hopefully, if
Well,
the
you got
playoffs
you don't,
continue.
You don't need to start him.
Not
He-
today.
He doesn't have to start.
I was thinking maybe tomorrow.
He doesn't have to start. You're not giving anybody rest. We're not resting guys, and nobody needs a blow right now. It's just the playoffs just started. I think, you get down the road a little bit, maybe, but I think
You
right
take
now,
care of
man,
business tonight, you get a couple of days off after that.
That's exactly right. That's
after tomorrow night.
yeah.
I've seen some fans who have said, Jurickson still getting some walks, but has not been hitting. Do you consider moving Jackson Merrill up again and
I do.
dropping Jurickson down in the lineup? You do.
I'm a lunatic, though. So, yeah, don't listen to me. They won't. But
I don't think they will.
I don't think they will?
I'd be surprised. I think they're going to roll with Jurickson until the happy or bitter end, one way or another, as their number 3 hitter. He's earned it this season.
And honestly, Manny, if Manny picks it up with the bat, Merrill being there behind him is ultimately a really, really great thing. So, Manny needs to get start swinging the stick a little bit better. Crony obviously needs to get it
He's
going.
going to ask about him. Is this a big game for him?
Yeah, it's
I mean,
massive, dude. It's massive. Crony needs to get it going, period.
I thought perhaps that, garbage time game at the end yesterday might be an opportunity for Jake to get going, and he struck out, and I go, ooh. All right, I was thinking just hit a hit here. It doesn't have to be a home run. Just, hit a line drive, get a single here, get off the schneid in the playoffs, and it wasn't a great-looking at-bat.
No.
Hopefully the day off. Obviously, he was in the cage, probably with Victor Rodriguez yesterday. I don't think he's at Mookie Betts levels of,
No.
introspection and, any self-doubt with Jake.
I've never heard
he
him
always
doubt
comes out of it,
himself.
but, it will be helpful. If they want to go all the way, you're going to need a contribution from Jake. You're going to need Jurickson to do something with the bat at some point. You don't have to do it every single day. Plenty of guys have stepped up, but you can't just take offers every single day, so I'd like to see Jake get going tonight as well.
He has not had great success against Walker Buehler either. Just a couple of hits in 18 at-bats. But, hey, man, not how you start, it's how you finish, certainly.
No guarantee Walker Buehler's around in the second inning tonight.
That's true.
If it starts going badly at the top of that order, I'd imagine Dave Roberts is going to, with a bullpen rested from yesterday, is going to have a quick hook. Didn't use his high-leverage relievers the day before either.
Play elite defense at second base. Do that at a bare minimum. I trust that the hits will come. I know that the work's being put in, certainly. Jake loves being a Padre. He loves playing baseball, dude. So this is probably ripping him apart inside. He has traditionally played really well against the Dodgers. So hopefully that streak continues. The wife will be in the house tonight, so maybe that's a little extra motivation for him.
You will see Trinan tonight. You will see Kopech tonight. Probably both games, 3 and 4. Unless something unusual happens, the Dodgers are going to go down fighting, and you'll see those guys. Now, as the Padres get more looks against them, saw them at the end of the season, saw them in Game 1, did not see them in Game 2, but more opportunities to face high-leverage relievers generally is good things for batters. The more opportunities you get to see a guy and how they're releasing pitches, hopefully they'll get a chance to score some runs against the bullpen.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be a long rest of the day till we get to first pitch.
Again,
6:08.
Do have some baseball before
6:08,
that.
2:08.
The 2:08 game is the Philadelphia Phillies at the New York Mets, just as pivotal. Same situation, tied 1-1. Going to New York now, where the Mets are hoping to win the next two and not have to go back to Philadelphia for a Game 5. It's going to be Sean Manaea on the mound for the Mets. He has pitched really well for that team this season and done it deep into the season, something, of course, he didn't do 2 years ago with the Padres when he, by his own admission, stopped putting in the work and let things tail off at the end of the season and became kind of a non-effective option for Bob Melvin. Aaron Nola is going for Philadelphia, and obviously, he's been in plenty of playoff games before, and I'm sure the Phillies feel good about his chances, but I would imagine that will be a fairly a low-scoring game. I mean, we did see some big hits and home runs 2 days ago. See what happens in Game 3 of that series this afternoon.
It's everything you dream of, man, this NLDS right now. Oh, yeah, Paulie put this together. So you can go to Ben and Woods on Instagram, and there's our link tree. It's on Twitter, I think, as well. And if you wanted to go buy, one of our Tier 1s last night came up with a great idea for a T-shirt. So I said, Paulie, what's the quickest we can turn this merch around? And I said, Paulie said about 5 minutes and had it up in the merch store. You can go get yourself your own Villains versus Victims T-shirt. Because I have never seen
Villains in gold.
Villains in gold.
Victims
in blue.
Yeah.
I would spend $1,000 to get it here by tonight to be able to wear it. It's not of it. You're not going to get it by tonight.
But you can get the coffee mug or whatever else. Yeah.
But the Dave Roberts calling the Padres the villains, and yet acting like a victim since the first pitch before this happened. We got the long layoff. Yeah, we're the first seed. We're the best team overall in baseball. Yeah, we got home field advantage, but we're underdogs. Nobody believes in us. Yeah, we got 3 MVPs at the top of our lineup. Yeah, we got a lockdown bullpen. Yeah, we spent $1 billion in the offseason. Nobody believes in us. Nobody thinks we can do it. So, yeah, villains versus victims. It reminds me when I was a kid. My dad went to Notre Dame, big Irish fan, and I remember when he hand-delivered me my very first Catholics versus Convicts shirt, and I proudly wore it to school in, 7th grade. That my dad, he taught me well. And one of my favorite shirts of all time, Villains versus Victims, is going to be my close second.
All right.
We're getting one for the kids, the whole thing. We're going to really lean into this.
I would say that one thing that Dave Roberts has been very successful at, he wanted to take that underdog role. Now he's got it. In today's game, he has got it. Padres are going in as favorites. They are the betting favorites in today's game. I think emotionally, we all feel that the series has shifted in its tenor after that Game 2 win on Tuesday. And a lot of people, even around the country, are expecting the Padres to win at least this game tonight. We'll see, what happens in the rest of the way. It could change as early as tomorrow. But do you feel like most of the rest of the country does, that the Padres are now in a good position going into Game 3?
Yeah, I think it's kind of what you dream of, man, having a guy like Michael King on the bump who just had a really, really nice playoff start for you. Dominant against a really good hitting Braves team that was, I know they had guys hurt, man, but they had some. When you looked at that lineup when they showed up, you went, oh, God, crap, I forgot. There's some really, really good players on this team as well. Dodgers are star-studded. Certainly, they've got grinders at the bottom. Guys that, the Gavin Luxes of the world, they scare you to death. The Miguel Rojas's, they scare you to death. Of course, Shohei scares you. Of course, Mookie, an injured or a wounded Mookie Betts who's hit 400 balls in the cage yesterday that is grinding for success, looking for a knock. Yeah, man, they scare the crap out of you. They're hungry, too.
One thing I'll be looking for tonight is how Michael King responds to some adversity. And that's not saying that he's not going to pitch well, but even Yu Darvish, as good as he was, gave up a run on a sacrifice fly, had some runners on. Now, Michael King did pitch out of a couple of early jams against the Braves, but it's unlikely Michael King is going to go through the entire postseason with a 0.00 ERA. So when a run comes, if it happens tonight, how does Michael King bounce back? It's kind of easy to stay locked in a groove when you just came off 7 shutout innings and 12 strikeouts. When that doesn't happen, whether it's the second inning, fourth inning, gives up a run, an RBI single, a sacrifice fly, whatever, does Michael King just bounce right back and keep it going and feel like, hey, I have not lost any of that momentum at all that I've put together? Dodgers are going to score in this series.
He's done it. He's done it. He's done it a lot this season, and I brought it up yesterday, but this is a guy that everybody had pegged to start in the bullpen. This postseason, and he went out and he won you Game 1, and let's see if he can go out and win you Game 1 at home, because I love him, I trust him, and the guy wants this moment, and he certainly rose to it. Means nothing that he had a great outing the first time. It means nothing that Mookie hasn't had a hit in 3 years in the postseason. All of it goes out the window, all of it, when it comes to playoff baseball. So guys are going to step up tonight. I like our chances tonight. I'm very pleased with I am pleased with everything that's happened. As much as it's annoying and the national media, again, this team has proven time after time, don't piss us off. Don't kick the hornet's nest. And if they're playing with a little bit of extra fire, which I can't imagine you need in front of 47,000 screaming fans tonight, so be it.
last message, and you stated it eloquently in your State of the Union yesterday, but to Padres fans out there, be loud, be enthusiastic, be proud. And,
what was your line? If Dodgers fans want to fight other Dodgers fans, let them. We want them to feel at home.
Want them to feel right at home. And but yeah, man, if you see your fellow Padre fan acting a fool tonight, try to rein him in a little bit.
47,000. There'll be someone who probably had a few too many before the game. If you see that kind of behavior from fellow Padres fans,
probably you actually
alert security.
You've had a few too many before the game.
I had 3 sips, so I'm definitely probably feeling it.
Throwing stuff from the top of the Marriott.
Alert security, and let's be the good guys in this series.
Yeah,
and let the Dodgers fans be the bad guys. You don't
want to turn the narrative away.
Yeah. There's only one real villain in this series, Dave, and they were all the people in your stands in Game 2.
Yeah.
Let's not give them any reason to think that the same thing will happen here.
Keep your head about you this evening. Very excited. Can't speak to how my voice is going to sound tomorrow on the show. Holy smokes, man! I got pretty decent seats tonight. I'm going to be going nuts, screaming and yelling and booing. Certainly when I see Dave come out but no, man, this is what we live for.
A lot of people we have to thank for today's broadcast. Baja Ricks for hosting us, everybody who works here. We've got our engineering, promotion, sales staff on site doing a great job getting us all set up. Less technical difficulties today. Pretty smooth on the broadcast. Sounded really good. And then Adam Klug back in our studio running the show. And, of course, Santo Tequila bringing us all. And we got a Beat LA chant going. Annie and Elston are here. They're coming up next. For our executive producer, Paul Reindl, for Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. between games 3 and 4 of the NLDS right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.